The following is a presentation of Wareham Gatemen Baseball, brought to you by the Gatemen Baseball Network in conjunction with the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Last summer, the Wareham Gatemen had one of their most successful seasons in franchise history.
Skied out to left field. This ball is way back. See you later, Colton Shaver. One pitch. That is rocketed out to right field. Back goes the right fielder, and that one's gone. An absolute bomb to right field for Gavin Sheets.
But despite their regular season success, the 2016 Gatemen were sent packing after the first round of the CCBL playoffs.
Is this ball fair? It is! Crow comes in to score the game's tying run. McKinnon comes in as well. Bourne has walked off, and Wareham's season is over.
Now a new season and a fresh start in Wareham. College baseball's finest are coming from all over the country in pursuit of the Gatemen's 8th Cape Cod Baseball League Championship.
Through the infield, coming around to score is Topa Play at the plate, and Metz is safe too. It's a 2 RBI single. 0-1 count on Luke Montiel, who swings and drives this one deep to left field. That one is into the trees.
Oh no, that's sent right up the middle, past the dive of the shortstop, and in for a base hit. Rounding third, heading home is Bonfield. An RBI single for Robbie Metz.
Off speed, throwing back to first base McIver, and the tag is in time from Sable. Driven out to right center and deep. This one is gone. Tristan Pape is second of the night. His second 3-run shot.
Chopped in the infield, coming over is Politz. He doesn't handle the baseball. The run scores. The Gatemen win their 3rd consecutive home opener.
It's Wareham Gatemen Baseball, and you're listening to it live on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Gatemen are back at Spillane Field today for a matchup with the Cotuit Kettleers for the second night in a row. Welcome to today's broadcast. I'm Connor Federico, joined by Sam Corman and the rest of our Gatemen Broadcast Network team. Sam, it's a great day for baseball, just like it was yesterday in Cotuit. 5 o'clock start yesterday, 5:30 start tonight. Thank you for joining us on the Gatemen Baseball Network, 5:02 on the East Coast. So the Gatemen, they had a home-and-home already this season. They swept Bourne 2-0. They have the same opportunity to do it tonight to Cotuit.
Yeah, and they're probably going to need more runs to do it because yesterday a 1-run performance got enough for the win. But, you know, we talked to assistant coach Maxwell yesterday after the game, and he said that Griffin Roberts' performance was the best performance he'd seen of a starting pitcher in his time on the Cape. And, you know, you're not going to get that every day, obviously. So the Gatemen are going to need to score more than 1 run today. And, I mean, they won the game yesterday, but however, you know, the scoring troubles still were there, and they've been evident over the past week, especially also in that win against Brewster back here a few games ago. They won the game 2-1, and the pitching was really what got them the win. They had an RBI hit yesterday, which they hadn't had in a while. They've been waiting for those RBI hits, but they got them in the games against Harwich and Cotuit. But the last time the Gatemen scored more than 3 runs was way back against the Falmouth Commodores last Saturday. So, you know, they're going to need to eventually break that streak if they want to continue to win games.
We're still waiting for that breakout offensive performance from the Gatemen. They did put up 7 hits last night, and they have not been out-hit by the Cotuit Kettleers in the 3-game series they've played so far this summer. But an interesting fact about these 3 games is that the losing team has had 2 errors in every game between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Wareham Gatemen, and the winning team has had 0 errors. And that's sort of what you expect, but it proves defensive efficiency in the Cape League so important.
Yeah, defense, especially with how good the pitching is, defense is just that much more key, because when teams do get opportunities with runners in scoring position, they might make you pay, because, you know, these pitchers are often not allowing runners to get to scoring position. But when you make defensive mistakes like the Gatemen have allowed to happen at certain points this season, it allows for teams to get some momentum and to get good scoring chances with guys on third, whether it be sac fly or infield ground out that gets the runners home. The Gatemen are 1-7 this year in games that they have 2 or more errors. So if they keep those, you know, defensive mistakes low, they're more or less a lot better off. Let me do the math. Go ahead, and then I'll do the math while you're doing that.
Well, Sam, I mean, interestingly enough, you know, you have so many lineup changes throughout the summer because there's so many guys coming in and out. The lineup tonight looks very similar to how it looked last night, and we won't go into it entirely because Jacob Toby will take care of it for us later, but really the only change is that Blake Sable is in at the first base spot instead of Luke Bonfield. Do you feel like this is the best lineup that Don Snedden can put out there?
I definitely feel this is the peak lineup, and I really think that it's very interesting having Jaron Duran at third base. We saw him play really well over there yesterday, and I think that if he can continue to do that from the left side, it opens up that spot where Robbie Metz at second base occasionally, and I think that he's really strong there. And I think defensively this is a really good lineup to have. A lot of speed in the outfield with Topa, Pompey, and Quan, especially Pompey and Quan on that center and right field side. They have all that ground covered with all that speed out there. Jake, I really like the way, not to discredit Jake Anchia either, I really like the way he's caught this year. I really like the way he's hit. For a guy that's come out of a D2 school, he's been a really nice surprise for this lineup. And in Luke Bonfield as well. I mean, you can't just leave him aside like he hasn't been an integral part of this team. He's had some good at-bats. He's been really good defensively, especially at first base, where there's kind of a hole on this team. At first base, of course, there are a few guys that can play first base, but none of these guys are true first basemen. And both Blake Sable and Luke Bonfield have done a good job. So this is definitely a very good lineup, but I definitely think that you can add and subtract one or two of these guys and still have, the premier lineup of the Wareham Gatemen.
We'll see that lineup fairly soon. 24 minutes from first pitch here on the East Coast. And to get you ready for game time, we'll send it to our Jacob Toby with Gatemen Pregame Live.
Thank you very much, Connor and Sam. Welcome into Gatemen Pregame Live, presented by South Coast Health. My name is Jacob Toby, getting you set for the Cotuit Kettleers and the Wareham Gatemen here at Spillane Field, a matchup of two Western Division opponents here today. So we'll take a look at the pitching matchup. And first for the Cotuit Kettleers, it will be Mitch Stallings, and he's a 6'2", 170-pound left-handed pitcher. Stallings out of Duke. He was their bullpen guy for his first 2 years there at Duke, and now he's coming out the Friday night starter, and he did very well this past season. 14 appearances, 13 of them starts, 4-3, a 4.50 ERA, 74 strikeouts rather to 26 walks, and he will start for the Kettleers today. He actually made one appearance for the Kettleers already this season. That was July 10th versus Hyannis in that 9-9 tie. He pitched an inning, let up an earned run, 2 hits, 1 walk, and 1 strikeout. On the rubber for the Wareham Gatemen, Miller Hogan out of St. Louis just finished up his sophomore season. The right-hander, 6'2", 200 pounds out of Overland Park, Kansas, and he will feature a power fastball that tops out around 94 miles an hour, 2 above average breaking pitches as well. We last saw him in a start versus Brewster on July 7th. Went 5 innings strong, no earned runs, 4 hits, 5 strikeouts, 2 walks. He actually pitched against this Cotuit lineup on June 30th. In that start, he went 5 innings, no earned runs, 6 strikeouts, and no walks. So walking batters has not been an issue for Miller Hogan this season. And now we're going to send it to our Claudia Chikamian. She caught up with pitching coach Jim Lawler.
Thanks, guys. I'm here with pitching coach Jim Lawler. So, Coach, first of all, Justin Montgomery and Griffin Roberts named to the All-Star roster yesterday morning. So, how proud are you of these guys, and what has really impressed you since they've been here?
Well, it's really neat, and I think we have some other guys, like all the clubs, probably have 3 or 4 guys each that we'd like to have on it, but those 2 guys are great representatives, and they've done a great job all summer for us.
And yesterday, Griffin Roberts went to the mound to start and was absolutely phenomenal. When I talked to Coach Sten after the game, he said that was one of the best pitching performances he's seen from the Gatemen and maybe in the Cape this summer. So what was really clicking for him, and how impressed were you with his stuff?
Well, number one, really impressed. And what he did, he went 6 innings and only threw 60 pitches. That's 10. He had 7, 9. So what he's doing is attacking the strike zone and making them swing. And at first, they had a few ground balls hard off him, but they only had 2 fly balls in 6 innings. So if you do that, you win. And what he did was, it's a shame he came out at 0-0. But in the summer, I got a pitch count, so I'm not going to let him extend.
Yeah, so like you mentioned, it was scoreless for most of the game until the Gatemen got that 1-0 lead to win the game. So what were you trying to get across to Sadler and Canine to make sure that they could preserve that very close game?
Well, it's funny. Both pitchers, Cotuit pitcher and our pitcher, raised the level of intensity in that game because they both were really good. And the kids sensed it. They talked about it. And those 2 pitchers created the atmosphere for both sides. And so everybody else wanted to stay suit with it. And especially if they already had a long day at the meetings and they'd gotten up at 7:30 in the morning, but the 2 pitchers created all the momentum.
So today you're sending Miller Hogan to the mound. It's his last start with the Gatemen. So he's entering today with 15 scoreless innings. So what do you really want him to try to keep going with today?
I just want him to stay. No. The thing about Hogan, everybody here, he's got a game plan of his own. He prepares every day. He maps it out. He's a 4-pitch guy, and he pitches. And I'm really impressed with him. And those are the kind of guys that stay consistent because he's got a plan, and he executes his plan. So he's really fun to watch.
Yeah, so what has he really been working on every day since he's been here, and what has really impressed you the most with his progress, his time here in the Cape?
Well, the big thing is just his work ethic, and he had it coming in. And first day I came in, do you need much help? So of course I sort of have my own plan, and he does. And so you just sort of stay out of his way, rub the ball up, and let him work, and he's fun to watch work.
Great, thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Back to you guys.
Good job.
A gutsy performance all around by the Wareham Gatemen last night. That's how head coach Don Snedden described the intense 1-0 win over the first-place Cotuit Cavaliers at Lowell Park. We pick it up in the bottom of the 4th inning where Griffin Roberts was red hot.
Out of the windup, hits, fires, strike 3, swinging. Griffin Roberts, his 4th straight strikeout, strikes out Tolia, Kinnaman, and Genista here in the 4th.
The next half inning, the top of the 5th, the Gatemen had a chance to bring in the first runs of the game, but Stephen Kwan could not get the job done.
Kwan awaits the 2-1 from Justin Hooper. Hits, fires, ground ball right past him. The second baseman, Alexander, fields it, and he just beats Stephen Kwan to first base. Gatemen, they leave 2 runners in scoring position, and they fail to get any runs across the board.
In the 6th, Tanner Dodson was so close to scoring, but a nice play made by Luke Alexander at second base.
The 2-0. Swung on and grounded to the second baseman, who throws home. Dodson's out. The turn on to first won't beat Pompey. It's almost a 4-2-3 double play. But Cotuit, they don't allow Wareham to score.
And just one batter later, with the bases loaded, the Gatemen, they still could not get a run across the board.
1-1. Bonfield flies it straight into the air. Shallow center. Under it, Genista, and he makes the play. The Gatemen, they leave the bases loaded with 1 out, and that will end the top of the 6th inning.
But after the Gatemen offense could not score, the defense keeps them in the game with a 6-4-3 double play to end the 7th inning.
Hits now, Luke Alexander. The 2-2. Ground ball up the middle. Kasser fields it, flips it to Metz. Metz on the first, got him! It's a 6-4-3 double play. It'll end the jam in the 7th inning for Fitz Stadler. And the Gatemen, they keep this game scoreless. The life sucked out of Cotuit's Lowell Park.
When was there going to be a run scored in this ball game? Well, the answer is in the top of the 8th inning. Sound up.
Pompey up to bat. Swings on the first pitch he sees. It's a base hit up the middle. Scoring is Kasser. Willie McIver will be held up at 3rd. A run finally scores in this game. Pompey in RDI. It's 1-0 Gatemen.
Gatemen closer Brett Canine comes in the 9th inning to try and shut out this Cotuit offense. He does it in style by way of the K.
Brett Canine on the mound. 3-2, 2 outs. 1-0 lead for the Gatemen. The payoff pitch from Canine. Strike 3. Ball game over. Gatemen win. Kettle no tonight. And Canine hugs his catcher McIver, and the Gatemen escape. They win at Lowell Park by a score of 1-0.
Kettle no is right, Connor Federico. The Wareham Gatemen beat the Kettleers 1-0 yesterday. The Gatemen advanced to 12-15-1 with 25 points. They sit in 4th place in that Western Division. And Cotuit in 2nd place, 14-13-1, 29 points. So again, it will be a matchup of 2 and 4 today. Going around the Cape League, taking a look at some scores throughout the CCBL. Top of the 1st, Harwich Mariners, Brewster Whitecaps. Harwich has the 1-0 lead over the Brewster Whitecaps. Kobe Vance has an RBI single in that one to give his Mariners a 1-0 lead. The rest of the game still not in action. We have a YD Falmouth matchup just in the pregame set right now. They're starting in just a moment. YD and Falmouth. Cotuit at Wareham will obviously start at 5:30. We are bringing you this game here. Orleans at Hyannis. That game will start at 6 p.m. Hyannis, of course, right now 1 point behind the Wareham Gatemen in the West. They are in last place. Orleans sitting with 36 points, the top of the Eastern Division. And the late game of the night, 7 p.m. start time for the Bravos, the Bourne Braves, at the Chatham Anglers at Veterans Field. The Chatham Anglers in 4th place right now with 28 points in the Eastern Division. The Braves sit at 1st place in the West at 15 and 13. We will take a short break here on Gatemen Pregame Live, presented by South Coast Health. But right after that break, we'll bring you starting lineups and more from our Claudia Chikamen here on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgent-care. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgent-care.
Registration is now open for the 2017 Wareham Gatemen Youth Clinics. The instruction clinics are open to boys and girls between ages 4 and 15. The clinics are a great opportunity to meet and learn from some of the best collegiate players in the country. Clinics are held Monday through Friday, depending on the player's off day. For more information and to sign up your young ball player, visit www.gatemen.org.
All-Star Game Weekend starts with a celebrity softball game on July 21st at McKeon Park in Hyannis. Come watch Jason Veritek, Bill Lee, Nancy Kerrigan, Scott Zolak, and other celebrities play ball in support of the Cape Cod Baseball League and Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital of Cape Cod. Gates open at 4 p.m. For more information and to buy tickets, go to allstarcapecod.org. That's allstarcapecod.org.
Registration is now open for the 2017 Wareham Gatemen High School Clinics. These programs are run by the Gatemen coaching staff with a focus on exposing high school area players to the college game. To sign up for either the hitting, pitching, or catching camps, visit www.gatemen.org for more information.
Welcome back into Gatemen Pregame Live, presented by South Coast Health. My name is Jacob Toby. We'll get you out to the guys in a little bit, but first we're going to get a look at the starting lineups in this game today between the Cotuit Kettleers and the Wareham Gatemen. First, for those Kettleers, Griffin Conine is the right fielder. He will bat first. Zach Cohn is at third. He bats second. Michael Tolia is the first baseman. He bats third. Batting cleanup, Grayson Genista, the center fielder. Thomas Dillard follows him, the DH. Brett Kinnaman in left field. Luke Alexander, the second baseman, bats seventh. Chandler Avant, the shortstop, bats eighth. Ivan Gonzalez, the catcher, he will bat ninth. And, of course, on the hill for the Kettleers is Mitch Stallings. Now for the Wareham Gatemen starting lineup, it is Stephen Kwan. He is the center fielder and the leadoff hitter. Tanner Dodson, the leading batter in the CCBL. He bats second at the DH spot. Kyle Kasser, another all-star for the Gatemen. He's at short. He bats third, followed by, yes, another all-star, Willie McIver, the catcher, batting cleanup. John Topa as well gets the all-star nod. He's in left. Tristan Pompey in right field. Blake Sable is at first today. Jaron Duran bats eighth. He is the third baseman for the second straight night. Robbie Metz at second base will bat ninth. And now we'll send it back to our Claudia Chikamen. She caught up with all-star Kyle Kasser.
Thanks, Jacob. I'm here with Gatemen infielder Kyle Kasser. So, Kyle, first of all, yesterday you were named an all-star. Congratulations. What is that like, getting that honor?
Thank you. It's a great honor, and I'm so blessed and grateful for the opportunity to compete in the Cape Cod All-Star Game. I mean, it's an unreal opportunity, and happy to be able to represent my school and my family and Gatemen in an All-Star Game.
Yeah, and it's going to be right here at Spillane Field next week. 5 Gatemen teammates joining you in the All-Star Game. So what are you most excited about for that day?
Just the atmosphere. Some of the best players in college baseball getting together and just competing, just having fun and playing the game that we love.
Now, you're known very well for your defensive skills. So what are you really trying to work on when you're out in the field on defense?
Just getting good reads and good first steps, and trying to get faster, more range, and just always trying to make my practice reps translate to game reps. So just always trying to get a good first step and a good read on the ball.
And what have you guys really been trying to work on when you're out in the field during batting practice or whatever, making sure you're not having those errors? Because a few of the errors that the team has had past few days have cost some key runs to score. So what are you guys really trying to improve on in that aspect?
Like I said, just making sure that your practice reps are the same as your game reps, taking practice like a game. So when you're in the game, it's what you've been doing every day and every practice, just over and over. So it translates.
What's the biggest thing you've been working on at your plate with your plate approach to try and get those key hits and getting on base a lot?
I think one thing I've been really working on is trying to look for an off-speed pitch with runners in scoring position, because at this level you're not going to get a lot of good fastballs to hit with runners in scoring position. They're going to try and trick you. So just seeing a good off-speed pitch, seeing it up, and just not missing it, making a pitcher pay for his mistake.
And finally, you guys got that win at Cotuit last night, 1-0. You've seen that lineup now, and now they're here tonight. So what can you guys kind of capitalize on that you maybe saw last night that you've been working on today?
I mean, it's the same thing we've been struggling with, scoring guys with runners in scoring position. So, and we snuck away with one last night, 1 run, and our pitching staff really picked us up. So hopefully today we can put some runs on the board and back our staff.
Great. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you.
Thanks, Claudia. The Gatemen Baseball Network would like to remind you that you can contact us anytime by emailing pressbox@gatemen.org. Please feel free to send us your questions or comments, and we'll make sure to address them as soon as possible. Make sure you're keeping up with all the Gatemen action 24/7 by following Wareham Gatemen on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Jacob Toby with you here on Gatemen Pregame Live, presented by South Coast Health. We bring in our beat writer, Matty Feld. How are we doing today?
Buenas noches, amigos.
And Matty Feld, today, Miller Hogan, it's his final start with the Gatemen. What can we expect out of the rotation after his last start? Who can be coming in and helping this team?
Yeah, a bit of a tough departure. Hogan, 15 straight scoreless innings coming into today's, only let up 3 hits in his last 2 outings that have expanded 10 innings, and has really been effective with that split-finger fastball to the left-handed hitters. And with Joey Matulovic also leaving in a week, you're going to need guys like Mason Fioli, who started back at school, hasn't started so much so far for the Gatemen this summer. He's going to have to fill one of those starting spots. My guess is the 4th day will be more of a staff day, but Mason Fioli is going to be the big guy that's going to have to pick up the slack and be able to throw those 4 or 5 innings, those 60 pitches that the Gatemen expect out of their starters every single day.
The Gatemen get a home game today versus Cotuit. They play on Tuesday after the off day Monday at Hyannis. This home record right now for the Gatemen, 6-8. What do you make of this?
Yeah, not great, but the Gatemen have been able to keep their season afloat by the way that they've played on the road, playing just about 500 ball on the road, and that makes today's game even more important. You got a chance to get a big win over a division rival, give yourself some breathing room between yourself 5th place, and a win today can put them in 2nd place, even tied for 2nd place, which is pretty unbelievable overall, all things considered, the way that some things have gone the Gatemen way and gotten against the Gatemen so far this season. So a really big game today against Cotuit. You have a chance to win 3 or 4 of them so far this season, with a chance then to go into Hyannis on Tuesday and get a big road win and really create some separation yourself between them and the bottom of the Western Division. So 2 really crucial games as the Gatemen not only try to get to 500, but to put themselves right back in the Western Division mix.
Hey, that's our beat writer, Matty Feld. Thanks very much. He is on the Wareham website. Check him out. He does a lot of good things for us. And we'll be right back after this short break here on Gatemen Pregame Live, presented by South Coast Health.
When you're sick or injured, you want care and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
Registration is now open for the 2017 Wareham Gatemen Youth Clinics. The instruction clinics are open to boys and girls between ages 4 and 15. The clinics are a great opportunity to meet and learn from some of the best collegiate players in the country. Clinics are held Monday through Friday, depending on the player's off day. For more information and to sign up your young ball player, visit www.gatemen.org.
All-Star Game Weekend starts with a celebrity softball game on July 21st at McKeon Park in Hyannis. Come watch Jason Veritek, Bill Lee, Nancy Kerrigan, Scott Zolak, and other celebrities play ball in support of the Cape Cod Baseball League and Spalding Rehabilitation Hospital of Cape Cod. Gates open at 4 p.m. For more information and to buy tickets, go to allstarcapecod.org. That's allstarcapecod.org.
Registration is now open for the 2017 Wareham Gatemen High School Clinics. These programs are run by the Gatemen coaching staff with a focus on exposing high school area players to the college game. To sign up for either the hitting, pitching, or catching camps, visit www.gatemen.org for more information.
All right, thank you for listening to Gatemen Pregame Live, presented by South Coast Health. My name is Jacob Toby. Now we will send it out to the broadcast crew tonight. Connor Federico, Sam Corman. I'm juiced up about this matchup, guys. What about you?
This one is going to be a lot of fun. Thank you very much, Jacob. I mean, coming off a 1-0 victory in which the atmosphere at Cotuit Lowell Park, it was incredible. It was so much fun, especially in the ninth inning. You know, all the pressure just mounting up to that moment, and Brett Canine gets 3 straight strikeouts. How do you even follow up such an impressive performance like that?
Well, you need the hitting to come through as well. You need, similar pitching performance, and you need both teams to perform well to have a great atmosphere like we had yesterday. The fans at Cotuit were amped up. It was a phenomenal pitcher's duel, and those games where the pitchers just duke it out like that, they're a lot of fun for the fans because they get to see the true ability of these guys, of what Griffin Roberts can do with his arm, of what Brett Canine can do with his arm, and they love seeing that, and they love seeing their team perform. They love seeing what Justin Hooper did with his arm as well at a UCLA. So I think these teams are built. These two teams are built for these kind of good matchups. Top to bottom, good orders, and the aces were on the mound yesterday. You got 2 more good pitchers on the mound today. We'll get some more on that later. But I think if both these pitchers have a good performance to keep it close, I think it's all going to start to build up as the season goes on between these two teams.
Your only view of tonight's game will be from behind home plate, a camera station right by Sam and myself, Connor Federico and Sam Corman. Thank you so much for watching tonight's Sunday night baseball here at the ballpark at Spillane Field, and we are really excited for this one. And it's going to be a really good one. I mean, so far between these 3 teams, we've seen a shutout on either side. But first, we'll get ready for the national anthem.
At this time, would we ask the teams take their respective baselines? We ask you to please rise and remove your caps for the singing of the national anthem. Here to perform tonight's national anthem, please welcome Kerrigan Nelson. Kerrigan attends Portsmouth High School and has been performing as a vocalist locally since she was 12 years old for numerous social service agency events and fundraisers. She's the 2016 Beach Idol contest winner. Kerrigan currently holds the title of Miss Congeniality for Miss Rhode Island Teen USA, Miss America's Outstanding Teen Rhode Island, where her platform is creating youth enrichment opportunities. She also holds a black belt in Taekwondo and is an 8-time state gold medal champion. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Kerrigan Nelson.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleaming, whose
Well, Sam, anthems are always better when the mic stays on the entire time. That's one advantage Spillane Field has over Cotuit's Lowell Park.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob Toby, though, on our broadcast team, did a great job fighting through.
He sang the last two notes despite the mic being off.
Oh, he sang the whole thing. I mean,
fantastic.
the mic was kind of coming in and out, and he should have just been ready to drop the mic and just belt it out, you know.
I guess. I mean, you can't anticipate things like that happening.
Oh, I know. That would have been awesome, though, if he just, dropped the mic and...
All right, what's about to be awesome is this game tonight between the Wareham Gatemen and the visiting Cotuit Kettleers, waiting for both teams to take their positions in the field. And we'll go through the Cotuit lineup very quickly. Griffin Conine, he'll bat leadoff for the second straight night. Zach Cohn, he moves up to the 2 spot tonight and plays third base. Michael Tolia bats third and plays first. Grayson Genista in the cleanup spot, fourth in the order. He plays center field. Thomas Dillard, he will DH tonight and bat fifth. The Gatemen did not see him yesterday. Brett Kinnaman, Luke Alexander, Chandler Avant, and Ivan Gonzalez, all guys that the Gatemen have seen. And they will be facing the pitcher tonight for his final time with the Wareham Gatemen, Miller Hogan.
Yeah, Miller Hogan, I say every time he comes out for an outing, he's just been getting better as the season's gone on, and he proved the same in his last outing. He's been phenomenal all year, getting that changeup to become kind of his go-to off-speed pitch, as opposed to his curveball, which has also been really good. But when he's on, that fastball and that changeup, they're really good. His last outing right here against Brewster, the Gatemen got a 2-1 win out of that. Hogan through 5 innings only gave up 4 hits, no earned runs, struck out 5 and walked 2. So he's looking to do more of the same tonight against a Cotuit lineup that is hungry after being shut out yesterday.
This is Miller Hogan's 5th start this season. He's the owner of a 2-0 record and a 1.50 ERA, 17 strikeouts in 18 innings. He's really got the arsenal that can make you swing and miss.
Yeah, he's got the two breaking, or not two breaking ball, but the two off-speed pitch combo that's just so important in that changeup and the curveball. It's hard for especially righty batters to read that against Hogan. So, if he continues to mix in the changeup and the curveball both at the same time and on the same batter, then I think he'll be in good shape once again, hopefully trying to improve his record to 3-0. I believe this is his last start here.
Behind the plate for Miller Hogan doing the catching tonight is Willie McIver, and in the infield, Jaron Duran at third, Kyle Kasser at shortstop, Robbie Metz at second, Blake Sable plays first base tonight, replacing Luke Bonfield from last night. In the outfield, from left to right, John Topa, Stephen Kwan, and Tristan Pompey. It's a fantastic night for baseball, and Griffin Conine is about to step in. Thank you very much for joining us on the Gatemen Baseball Network tonight. Connor Federico and Sam Corman getting you ready for first pitch. A game where the Gatemen, they could possibly fall to last place, but they could move up to third place by the end of the night in the West. Miller Hogan deals out of the windup. Misses. Ball 1, and we are underway. Hogan, this year with St. Louis, 15 starts, a 2.70 ERA, 8-3 record led him to an All-Atlantic 10 second-team selection. Big swing and miss on that off-speed pitch. Griffin Conine swinging right through that one.
That's exactly what Miller Hogan is trying to do with that changeup, is just get guys out in front. Started off with the fastball, showed him a little bit of what his full speed potential is like, and then went back, dropped it about 10 miles an hour.
This ball is fouled along the right field side towards Blake Sable, and will go foul. So now Miller Hogan ahead 1-2 in this count to Griffin Conine. The Duke Blue Devil, an All-ACC second-teamer, and the College Home Run Derby participant, as we've said many times. 13 home runs with Duke this spring. Miller Hogan, he's got the 1-2 pitch here. Just called inside, and the count will even up at 2. Miller Hogan stands 6'2", 200 pounds. And the righty faces Kettleers lineup that's now in second place in the Western Division. The 2-2, swing and a miss, strike 3. Miller Hogan strikes out Griffin Conine, his first strikeout of the night, and the first batter he faces. That strikeout brought to you by the law offices of Lang, Exaforest, and Bullard.
Yeah, Hogan gets him with the off-speed pitch again. All off-speed pitches for his 3 strikes against Conine, who's a really good hitter. Power hitter, played in the home run derby this year in college, and Hogan sits him down pretty easily to start this game.
Well, that was one that was out of the strike zone, too, and he got Conine fooled. First pitch to Zach Cohn is a swinging strike. There's that fastball. Great velocity from Miller Hogan. Zach Cohn last night, he batted later in the lineup. He was in the 7 spot. Tonight he moves up to 2. And he takes called strike 2. A little bit of a late call from Ronald Adams, the home plate umpire. But either way, Miller Hogan's got no 2 count coming.
Yeah, gets a strikeout on the first All-Star of this Cotuit lineup, and now has a 0-2 count on the second All-Star of this Cotuit lineup.
Out of the windup, kicks, fires, misses. Ball 1. Conine and Cone, interestingly enough, both went to high school at the Pine Crest School in Florida. High school teammates decided both to go to Duke. And the 1-2 lifted into left field. Under it is Topa, and he makes the catch for the second out of the inning. Cone is retired.
Very interesting. Players decide to go to the same college, and it happens more frequently than you'd think. Players coming out of high school going to college. I can think of one off the top of my head. There's a pair of guys at BC, played together in high school, now play in college together. Try to join the same collegiate league team. Sometimes it doesn't work out with the way the cuts work and everything. But it's pretty cool how these guys are able to just pick a buddy and work their way up.
First pitch from Hogan to Tolia is called for a ball. Michael Tolia, the UCLA Bruin. First West Coast guy we see in the batter's box tonight. Batting on the left side, he's a switch hitter. Hogan deals low, yes, ball 2. Yeah, that late call from the umpire. I'm just waiting for it. Umpires tonight, Ronald Adams behind the plate. Sparky Burns over at first, and David Viveros over on the third base side. Swing and a miss on a high fastball from Miller Hogan. So, yeah, so far a theme for him is getting hitters to swing and miss on pitches that he won't get hurt.
Yeah, high heat there on 2-0, and gets Tolia to chase. I bet Tolia was anticipating in the strike zone all the way and was just looking for a fastball, and it was just a little bit above the belt.
This pitch is called for a ball, and now we'll have a 3-1 coming. Michael Tolia, a former draft pick in the 35th round of last year's Major League Baseball draft by the Colorado Rockies. And he awaits the 3-1 from Miller Hogan. Swing and a miss, strike 2. The mound battle tonight, it'll be Miller Hogan, and he'll face Mitch Stallings, who the Gatemen will see in the bottom of the first inning. Miller Hogan could send him to the bottom half of this frame with a strike 3 here. He takes the sign from McIver. Deals. And this ball is pulled foul down the first base line. So we'll do it again.
It might take a little while for both these teams to solve these opposing pitchers. Both really good pitchers, Hogan and Stallings. And with the way that these teams have been hitting, both have been really struggling at the plate. I think that it could take a little while for them to solve these starting pitchers that might work their way into the middle of the game if they pitch well.
The 3-2, 2 outs. Ball 4. And Tolia will jog on down to first. So you don't see that very often from Miller Hogan. That's only his 5th walk of the summer.
Yeah, his strikeout to walk ratio is rather through the roof, I would say. And that's a very important stat as you're keeping the pitch in the strike zone. And Miller Hogan, his last start, he was kind of used to putting guys on to start innings or like middle of innings. But he would work out of it pretty easily. So he wants to continue that theme that he had in his last outing.
His first pitch to Grayson Genista is called for ball 1. Yeah, after that at bat right there, Miller Hogan, 13 hits, 5 walks. So 18 hits and walks, to his 18 strikeouts. He's 1 for 1. Pickoff throw, not in time.
In the last game against Brewster, I mean, Miller Hogan, first inning, 2 outs, gave up a walk and a hit. Second inning, gave up a single with 2 outs.
Another pickoff attempt will not beat the runner Tolia.
Third inning, gave up a 2-out single, but he was able to work out of all those jams, and I think that, you know, he's confident out of the stretch, and he doesn't get rattled by putting guys on, especially with 2 outs. He knows that his defense and himself will help work out of it.
The 1-0, Genesta fouls it off his leg. You know, for a guy who strikes out so many, it also seems like he has such a great faith in his defense.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, he provides a lot of ground ball outs. You saw that from Griffin Roberts yesterday. It wasn't just the strikeouts. It was Griffin Roberts only allowed the ball out of the infield once yesterday. And
that's crazy.
When you can do that as a pitcher in 6 innings, I mean, you're not getting scored on. And Miller Hogan's been really good at keeping the ball on the ground in particular.
Hogan's 1-1 is fouled back, and now he works himself ahead in the count. He's got 1-2.
But yes, that is absolutely nuts that Griffin Roberts only allowed the ball to leave the infield once in 6 innings. Pretty crazy stuff.
Roberts and Miller Hogan, they've been really great pitchers for the Gatemen this season. Hogan out of the stretch. His 1-2 to Genesta. He deals. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. Miller Hogan gets his second strikeout in 4 batters faced. That one brought to you by the law offices of Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard. No hits, no errors, and 1 man left on base. We'll head to the bottom of the first. The Gatemen offense looking to strike quickly. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
When you're sick or injured, you want care when and where it's convenient for you. South Coast Health Urgent Care has 4 locations: Fairhaven, Wareham, and now in Seekonk and Dartmouth. You can view wait times and even check in online at southcoast.org/urgentcare. Choose the time and location that's best for you. We'll even remind you when it's time to come in, and walk-ins are always welcome. Urgent care that exists to meet your needs. More than you expected? That's more than medicine. Check in at southcoast.org/urgentcare.
The Down East Lobster Roll combos are back at the 99 restaurants. Visit today in Centerville, Falmouth, Mashpee, Wareham, or Yarmouth for the best value for lobster rolls on the Cape. The 99, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Bottom of the first inning here at Spillane Field. No score between the Wareham Gatemen and the Cotuit Kettleers. The pitcher the Gatemen will face, it's Mitch Stallings, but here is the Gatemen starting lineup tonight. Stephen Kwan, he'll lead off a lefty-on-lefty battle. He'll be the leadoff man. Tanner Dodson DHs tonight and bats second. He's usually a guy that pitches after Miller Hogan. We're wondering if we'll see him tonight. Maybe, maybe not. Batting third, Kyle Kasser. Batting fourth, the cleanup guy, Willie McIver. Batting fifth, John Topa. Tristan Pompey, he drove in that winning run last night. He bats sixth. Blake Sable, the first baseman, bats seventh. Jaron Duran playing third base again tonight, bats eighth. And rounding out the lineup, number 9, batting 9, Robbie Metz. He'll play second.
Yeah, Mitch Stallings, who they're facing. Really good lefty pitcher, and has a fastball. Won't overwhelm you with the heat on the fastball. It'll probably reach 90 miles an hour max, maybe 91. But the sweeping breaking ball kind of slurvish from him, as well as a changeup that runs about 79, 80 miles an hour with plenty of fade on that changeup. Fade meaning, you know, opposite direction of a curveball, so a two-seam fastball looking changeup. So definitely a tough challenge for the Gatemen lineup today in Stallings. Another Duke Blue Devil.
The third Duke Blue Devil in this starting 10 tonight for the Cotuit Kettleers, and the first pitch to Stephen Kwan is called for a strike. This is Stallings' first start of the summer, but he has pitched 1 inning. He's given up 1 run. The 0-1 is now taken for 0-2 by Stephen Kwan. We have yet to see him swing. And now he's down in the count early.
Kwan's the guy that was able to get on base yesterday.
Fly ball by Stephen Kwan into deep right center field. Chasing it and letting it hit the wall is the center fielder, Genista. Kwan thinks about 3, but holds up at second. It's a leadoff double for Stephen Kwan, showing off the power in his bat. What a great swing.
Yeah, he's been hitting the ball a lot further recently. He's been hitting it to the warning track, and he's had a few flyouts out there at Spillane Field, but he was able to find the gap this time and gave it a ride. That one probably got at about 390, 400 feet out there to right center. And Stephen Kwan showing off some power that we didn't know he had, but right now he's sitting at 9 RBIs in 10 games with the Gatemen. He's been unbelievable.
As a reminder, make sure to follow the Gatemen Baseball Network anytime on social media, and feel free to email us any questions, pressbox@gatemen.org. Here is Tanner Dotson. Takes ball 1, so after dealing 3 consecutive strikes to Stephen Kwan, maybe the pitcher Stallings a bit rattled now.
Yeah, I mean, leadoff extra base hit, already a guy in scoring position, and you have to worry about this monster at the plate.
Dodson, league leader in batting average. Stephen Kwan with a good lead off at second. And Dodson takes strike 1. We've seen the Gatemen in the early parts of the season. They bunted in sort of textbook situations. Now we've seen Coach Don Sneddon mix it up a little bit, but
well, he probably wants to see his team hit a lot better, and I think that he's trying to get as many opportunities for his guys as possible.
Dodson with the bat on his right shoulder. Swings and fouls it off. It's now 1-2. Dodson comes into this game with a .385 batting average and a .481 on base percentage. When you're nearly on base 1 out of every 2 times, that's really impressive. The switch hitter from Cal faces the Duke Blue Devil Stallings. Stallings is 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. That's the first out of the inning, and Tanner Dodson is down on 4 pitches.
Really good curveball from Stallings to get Dodson. Dodson was able to wait on it. He just missed. It looked like he might have swung right under it or over the top. And Kwan remaining on second. Don't want to waste this opportunity with a runner in scoring position, nobody out. But the heart of the order coming up for the Gatemen, they still have a big opportunity to get a run or more out of this inning.
Kyle Kasser had one of the 7 hits last night against the Cotuit Kettleers. He happened to also score the game-winning run in the 8th inning. He's got Stephen Kwan over at second, and now he's in a pickle. Picked off by Stallings. The third baseman, Cohn, runs him down, and he makes the tag on the foot. Stephen Kwan is picked off, and man, Sam, it's just another situation with the Gatemen being a little too aggressive and sloppy base running. It's a critical error.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about defense errors in the pregame, and base running is another kind of subject of the game where it's just kind of a given for most guys.
Yeah.
And you know, you can't make errors like that. You've seen it before with Willie McIver over there at second as well, but tough break for Kwan.
So the situation changes now for Kasser, who's now in a 1-1 count. Instead of a runner on second and 1 out, the bases are clear, and there's 2 outs. On deck, Willie McIver. The pitcher, Mitch Stallings. He deals. Kasser fouls this one off again, and now a 2-strike count. For the past couple of days, we've seen Kasser, after foul balls, get a little frustrated with himself, maybe thought he could take that one for a ride.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the power come out of Kyle Kasser yet. I think he's been looking for that himself, but he's been hitting a lot of line drives. He is an all-star. He's had a really good season so far.
1-2, chopped foul. So we'll do it again. Yeah, Kasser throughout his collegiate career only has 1 home run, and that came this junior spring for the Oregon Ducks. Otherwise, in his freshman and sophomore year and the past 2 summers, no homers. And he fouls this one off to the same spot again. Sean Callahan, the first base coach, making a nice grab.
But, you know, back to the base running error. John Topa yesterday gets caught in the rundown. That was back in the second inning of that game, in which the Gatemen kind of was an opportunity for them to score early, but the rundown got him out of that, and now today, early in the game.
1-2 called, strike 3 on the outside corner. It sits down Kasser. So the Gatemen get a double, but Stephen Kwan is picked off along the second and third baseline. That will do it for the first inning. This game's still scoreless. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Listen to the game wherever you go with the Next Radio app. Catch this station's local broadcast or stream all the action right on your phone. Visit the Google Play Store and download the free Next Radio app today.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1991, holds over 600 events nationwide for players ages 8 through 18, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, plus 400 have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Friendly's Restaurants, a timeless tradition since 1935, is proud to be the official ice cream of the Cape Cod Baseball League and bring together 2 of America's favorite pastimes, baseball and ice cream.
We're back for the top of the second. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Connor Federico and Sam Corman with you tonight. We'll hear from our Jacob Toby and Claudia Chikamian very shortly. And Miller Hogan, he gets 2 strikeouts in the first inning. What do you like that you've seen out of him so far?
Well, I like that he's keeping his changeup I like that he's keeping his fastball high. It's really been fooling those guys. I mean, the high heat, it got Griffin Conine and it got Grayson Genista as well. So if he can continue to place that fastball up out of the zone and get guys to chase it, I mean, he's going to have a good day. When you get guys to chase out of the zone, you give him a lot less of a chance to make good contact with it. So he'll take that as a gift and kind of run with it today.
Here is Thomas Dillard, the first batter of this second inning. He was not in the starting lineup against the Gatemen yesterday. Instead, it was Miles Lewis. Dillard is the replacement. The switch hitter out of Ole Miss. First pitch from Miller Hogan down low. Dillard, the Ole Miss Rebel from Oxford, Mississippi. His grandfather, Wilson Dillard, was a running back for the Ole Miss football team from 1949 to 1952.
Wow, that's some history right there.
Yeah.
Ole Miss football in the 1950s. I don't even know what that was like.
Well, the SEC didn't exist then, did it?
Don't know, but I'm sure the Egg Bowl between Ole Miss and Mississippi State was still big.
Ground ball to Blake Sable, and he makes a sliding grab down the first base line, steps on the bag, and it's the first out of the inning. Great play by Sable. Listed as a catcher, but a guy who's more frequently made appearances at first base, and because of his height and his ability to pick balls out of the dirt, he's been really valuable over there.
Yeah, and his speed. I mean, you might not think of first base as a place where you need too much speed, but when you're moving to your right that much or to your left for certain balls, especially to your left down the line, you need to be able to get there with the wheels that Blake Sable has.
Here's Brett Kinnaman, swing and a miss, strike 1 from Miller Hogan.
It's also interesting, Blake Sable's a righty. A lot of first basemen that you see upper levels and anywhere, sometimes or more often than not lefties. But Sable's getting it done with the righty.
Hogan misses way up high, trying to get that breaking ball to come down to Kinnaman, who's batting .250 this summer. 7 stolen bases, 12 RBIs. A guy that has a .391 on base percentage. Gatemen will try to nip him today, make sure he doesn't get on base. And he now takes strike 2, so Miller Hogan really working ahead in the counts once again.
Cotuit's a team that's really struggled to hit recently. They've also really struggled to hit specifically against this Wareham Gatemen pitching staff. Only 2 runs in 3 games.
Wow. Ground ball foul, so we'll do the 1-2 again. Kinnaman, 0 for 4 yesterday against the likes of Griffin Roberts, Fitz Stadler, and then he struck out to end the game in a very long, riveting battle between Brett Canine in the bottom of the 9th.
Yeah, he got the crowd into it with a 3-2 count, runner in scoring position. Kinnaman unable to come through against a really good pitcher, though.
Here's another really good pitcher, Miller Hogan. His 1-2 down in the dirt. We'll get a 2-2.
And to elaborate on Cotuit's hitting struggle, specifically against Wareham, they have 11 hits against the Gatemen this year. And that's the same amount as the Gatemen had of runs in their first meeting this season.
2-2, hit back up the middle. Kasser's got it in the hole. He makes the throw on to first. Sable grabs it. What a play. It'll just go down as 6-3 in the scorebook, but really athletic job by Kyle Kasser ranging to get the ball, and then Blake Sable. We talked about his height. That was it right there.
Yeah, I'm very impressed by Sable, but I'm also very impressed by Kyle Kasser moving to his left, able to field that ball normally without having to make a diving grab or anything like that. Right up the middle, able to range, and kind of while he's moving is able to get himself in position to scoop that ball up and keep it in front of him. He makes a really good throw on the run as well.
Miller Hogan now faces Luke Alexander from Mississippi State. First pitch grounded softly off the end of the bat to Sable. Flips on to Hogan, and that is the 3rd out of the inning. So Miller Hogan forces Cotuit to go 1, 2, 3. Dillard, Kinnaman, and Alexander all ground out. We'll go to the bottom of the 2nd. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
We appreciate and thank the sponsors who support the Cape League and the 10 teams. Our corporate sponsors are the financial backbone of the league. It is with their support that we are able to preserve our long-standing tradition of providing the best family entertainment here on Cape Cod. On behalf of the visiting team, the Wareham Gatemen, league officers, and the entire Cape League family, we would like to announce and thank our 2017 corporate sponsors. With much appreciation, we recognize the Yawkey Foundation, Chatham Bars Inn, the Fuller Family Foundation, Dunkin' Donuts, Curry College, Cape Cod Healthcare, the 99 Restaurants, Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod, Cape Cod Potato Chips, Friendly's Ice Cream, Baseball Factory, Cape and Island License Plate, 47 Brand, Cape Cod 5 Cents Saving Bank, Stop and Shop, Peapod. We'll be back to you in the next inning for the second half of this outstanding list of loyal sponsors.
Willie McIver and his .330 batting average at the plate right now for the Gatemen. Also impressively, 2 home runs, 15 RBIs, and 12 stolen bases. He's a guy right now that you want facing this lefty, Mitch Stallings. And he fouls the first pitch back. Stallings gave up a leadoff double all the way to the wall from Stephen Kwan. First time we've seen him do that this summer. And then he eventually gets picked off, so along with 2 strikeouts, Stallings has faced the minimum. Deals to McIver, and this is going to be strike 2 called outside. Great night at the ballpark here at Spillane. Connor Federico and Sam Corman with you tonight. It'll be John Topa and Tristan Pompey after McIver, who takes ball 2 down low. Ball 1, rather. Stallings is an Atlanta, Georgia native. Stands 6'2", just like his counterpart at the On the mound tonight for the Gatemen, Miller Hogan. And now Willie McIver uses his eyes to even up this count. 2-2. No score here in the bottom of the second inning between the Gatemen and the visiting Cotuit Kettleers. That 2-2 grounded sharply to the shortstop Avant, and he makes a good throw on a first, and McIver is sent back to the dugout, one away.
I tell you, you can just tell how good these players are just from the way they feel the ball and the way they throw the ball without any effort.
Yeah.
The kind of just like slinging motion of their arms, it almost rivals that of MLB players. I mean, of course, they're not there yet, but it just they make it look so effortless, and that's how you can really tell that these guys are the top of the line college players.
John Topa stands in now, and he takes called strike one on the outside corner. Stallings throwing a lot of strikes today, really getting himself in the count early.
Yeah, that's what you need to do, especially against a guy like William McIver.
And Topa swings on, looks like a backdoor slider or breaking ball, and now the count's 0-2.
Yeah, it's kind of a mix, breaking curveball and slider there. I guess you can call it a slurve because it is kind of that. It has a lot of left to right motion.
0-2 popped in the air. It's going to land for just a foul ball along the right field side. Topa just sort of popped that one up right behind the first baseman. Tolia had no play on it. That ball was very close to being fair, maybe a double for Topa.
Well, that's your famed Bermuda Triangle over there that Topa was targeting, looking to land that one between the first baseman and the second baseman.
So good defensive swing by John Topa on 0-2. Now we're awaiting this pitch again. On deck, Pompey, who will hit on the right side tonight against this lefty Stallings. And Topa takes ball one just inside. 5:30 start here tonight. Right now 6:02 on the East Coast here in just off the Cape Cod. And Topa strikes out. Stallings is third of the day. Now there's 2 outs.
That was that changeup from Stallings going low with it and works its way away from that right-handed hitter. And really good stuff from Stallings. Probably has somewhat of a two-seam grip on that changeup and able to get Topa not only out in front but also chasing a pitch way outside of the zone.
Stallings faces Pompey. And Pompey swings on the first pitch and foul tip right into the glove of Gonzalez. Strike one. Pompey was a member of the Canadian junior national team that went to the 2015 World Championships. He pops this one high out of play, or in play actually, but first baseman Tolia never even moved on it. He could have had that ball if he ran for it.
I guess you just assume that the ball is out of play when guys don't chase after it. I'm sure Mike Roberts wants that one back, the head coach of Cotuit.
The 0-2, Pompey holds up on a ball in the dirt. They'll get an appeal anyway, and Sparky Burns says, no, of course he did not go. And now there will be a 1-2 to Pompey. Nice crowd here at Spillane tonight. See if the Gatemen can give them any energy. 1-2, swing and miss, strike three. Mitchell strikes out Tristan Pompey and John Topa in this second inning. And just like Miller Hogan, he goes 1-2-3 here in the second. We will head to the third. This game is scoreless. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Continuing with our corporate sponsors, we also want to recognize and thank Franklin Sports, Advanced Embroidery, Cape Destinations, Robert B. R., Sullivan Tire, Vacation Inn Cape Cod Veterinary Specialists, Cape Cod Times, Kinlan Grover Real Estate, Next Radio, Yellow Book, TSA, Rawlings, Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce, Highline Cruises, Sports Picks, On Deck Sports, Barnstable Bat, Hyannis Area Chamber of Commerce, H.P. Hood, Sunderland Printing, and Axis Bats. And of course, thank you to Major League Baseball for over 50 years of support.
Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends, staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgent-care.
Top of the third at Spillane Fields. Miller Hogan back out on the mound. And the Overland Park, Kansas native, he's been really dealing early. Only one base runner tonight.
Yeah, he looks really good. And, I mean, I love to attribute all the successes to both these pitchers so far in these first 2 innings. However, both these offenses are really, really struggling. You can tell in the batter's box, it won't. For Cotuit, I mean, this team has only scored 3 runs in their past 3 games, and if you count, and if you get rid of the third game, they've only scored 1 run in the last 2. So Cotuit's really trying to break out of a slump here, hitting slump in particular. The Gatemen as well. So, and it's not going to get any easier against 2 pitchers who are really commanding their off-speed pitches early on in this game.
Here's Chandler Avant. 5'10", 180 pounds, out of Alabama. He lines this one foul towards left field. So Hogan ahead, 0-1. You know, in the early part of the season here at the Gatemen Baseball Network, we talked about so much the Gatemen. All they have to do is get to 4 runs, and they'll probably win the game. But over the past couple of days, they've won 2 games and with a combined scoring 3 runs, 2 against Brewster and 1 against Cotuit yesterday. 1-0. Loop to the shortstop Kasser, and that will be the first out of this 3rd inning.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that rule still sticks because of how good the pitching has been. If you score 4 runs with this pitching staff behind you, especially the starting pitching, of course, you're probably going to win the game if you're the Wareham Gatemen. The only issue is the reason they've lost so many games recently is they haven't been scoring 4 runs.
Ivan Gonzalez, the 9 batter. He's a catcher, a good defensive catcher, but has struggled at the plate as he takes ball 1 from Hogan, hitting 130. This is his 9th game tonight with the Kettleers. So small sample size, but through 23 at-bats, he's certainly struggled. And Miller Hogan throws ball 2. Gonzalez, twice now we've seen him start the game behind the plate and eventually gets subbed out in the later innings when Coach Mike Roberts is looking for a bit of an offensive jump start. 2-0, grounded to the 3rd baseman Duran. He throws across the diamond and Sable makes the catch. That's 2 gone.
Well, it's just amazing how Miller Hogan's just able to get guys to swing over the top of his off-speed pitches like that. That's now 4 ground outs in the past 5 batters. Most of them pretty easily handled by his defense behind him. Talked about errors before the game. Gatemen can't afford any defensive mistakes behind their pitcher, who's pitching really, really well so far.
Duran looked really comfortable over there at 3rd base as well, makes a strong throw. And here's the top of the order now for the right fielder, Griffin Conine. Leads this Kettleers team as a .324 batting average, 21 runs scored, 6 home runs, 23 RBIs. Those are all team bests. It's really paving the way for Cotuit right now. High pop-up drifted to the center fielder, Quan. The Oregon State Beaver is under it and makes the catch. It's another 1-2-3 inning for Miller Hogan. This game is still tied at 0, just like it was last night, going into the bottom of the 3rd. Before we get to the bottom of this inning, we'll send it to our Jacob Toby with an Around the Cape update. Jacob.
Thank you very much, Connor, bringing you Around the Cape League. Right now, there are a couple games that are starting. Harwich and Brewster, they are tied up at 2 apiece in the top of the 4th. Mickey Gasper, his 5th home run of the season. It was a 2-run blast. Move it over to Falmouth, where the Commodores are hosting the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox. Falmouth has a 1-0 lead on an Alec Baum RBI single. Take it now to Hyannis, where the Harbor Hawks, they host the Orleans Firebirds in the top of the first. But Orleans, the best team in the CCBL, has a 3-0 lead over those Harbor Hawks, thanks to a 3-run bomb by Rami Gonzalez. And the other game of the night, the late game, 7 p.m. start time, Bourne will play at Chatham at Veterans Field. That's enough. That's it for this Around the Cape update. Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Jacob. One of those scores going as the Gatemen would like. Hyannis losing 3-0. The Gatemen sit 1 point above them. But that Falmouth score, that's one we'll be watching against defending champions, the YD Red Sox. Falmouth has a lead. But if the Gatemen can win against Cotuit tonight and Falmouth loses, they'd both be 13-15-1 by the end of the night. And tied for third is a good spot for the Gatemen, considering they spent 2 days in last place.
Yeah, I mean, being tied for third will be pretty good. But, I mean, second is the go-to for these teams, because then you get the home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs, I believe. And, you know, I mean, any team can win any game in this league. We know that. But Gatemen trying to win as many of these games as possible, especially considering Harbor Hawks right on their tails. They're playing well recently.
Well, the second place team in the West, it's the Cotuit Kettleers, and their pitcher Mitch Stallings is back on the mound for the third against Blake Sable. And he takes ball one low and outside.
You also heard there's another score there. The Harwich Mariners in the lead again. They've been playing really well recently, trying to climb their way back up in the East Division standings. It'll be interesting to see if they can make a late push against Chatham.
1-0, swung on foul tip by Sable right into the glove of Gonzalez. 1-1. You know, you talked about wanting home field advantage in the playoffs, and this is an interesting season series right now. 3 games played, and the road team has won all 3.
Hey, there's anomalies to everything, I guess.
And Sable takes strike 2 on the outside corner, so 40 in maroon, Mitch Stallings. He's been dealing, and now he's ahead 1-2 to the USC product, Blake Sable. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Sable goes down. So right now for the Gatemen, you know, you love to talk about pitch selection. Right now they're swinging at pitches outside the zone. 3rd straight strikeout, 5th of the night.
In that lefty-lefty matchup for Blake Sable and for the rest of the lefties, such as Jaron Duran at bat now, it's going to be really tough against Mitch Stallings, because that breaking ball, almost Griffin Roberts-esque, except it has more downward movement than Roberts. Roberts just kind of comes in on the righty batter, and then his comes in off the lefty batter, but also a lot slower than his fastball and a lot more downward movement than a regular slider.
Jaron Duran takes strike 1. Interestingly enough, the Kettleers last night, they threw Justin Hooper, a returner from 2016. Mitch Stallings was a reliever for the 2015 Cotuit Kettleers, and he played with the current Cotuit pitching coach, Brian King. So King, only 2 years ago, was a member of this team, and now he's the pitching coach. Stallings, he's back for his second summer, just a year removed. And in 2015 in Cotuit, Stallings had a 3.79 ERA, and he deals in the dirt to Duran, a 1-2 record, 12 strikeouts in 19 innings. He certainly improved a lot from then to now.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the guys who come in here after their junior year are a lot better than they were the year before.
Duran flares this one to the left side, but it just goes foul. Now the count is 2-2. Duran last night was only retired once in the 3rd inning. Otherwise, he was hit by a pitch, had a single, and was intentionally walked in the 8th, which ended up being the right decision from Mike Roberts and the Cotuit coaching staff, as the next batter, Robbie Metz, grounded to the shortstop to end the inning. That 8th inning, the only run scored in that game, and it was for the Gatemen, who won.
And the Gatemen left 12 men on base yesterday. Really lucky to have a win out of yesterday's game, honestly, with the way they hit.
Here's this ball outside, and Duran forces a full count. So tricky spot for Mitch Stallings, who has not given up a walk today. His only hit was to Stephen Kwan, who will bat after Robbie Metz, who's on deck. The payoff pitch outside. Duran works. Not a walk, actually. I was ahead in the count. I apologize. Count is now full 3-2.
Yeah, that scoreboard at Spillane Field, it's impossible to read in the daytime. So no reinforcements, I guess, for you.
Now the 3-2, swung on and drifted out to left field. Going back for it is Kinnaman. He'll let it hit the wall. Duran rounds first and heads for second. He's in there with a stand-up double. Quan had a double, now Duran, two guys who don't usually show off the power. They both hit the wall tonight.
Yeah, Duran almost took that ball out of the ballpark. We didn't expect him to have that kind of power, especially opposite field, over the head of the left fielder, Kinnaman. And good piece of hitting by Duran on a full count. Gets a pitch that he wants, knowing that Stallings has 3 balls on the count and, you know, showing off some power, I guess. We hadn't seen them at all from Duran this season. Also didn't show that off at Long Beach State much either.
Duran, a guy who has 1 home run in his collegiate career. It came last spring as a freshman for Long Beach State. Hasn't had one since. Robbie Metz is at the plate now, and he takes a ball outside. So we saw back in the first inning, Quan gets that double, and then Stallings, he recovers for 2 straight strikeouts. Robbie Metz trying to change that course of action.
Yeah, also Duran, he's smarter with the base running than Stephen Quan was, and I think he will be learning from that mistake by Quan earlier in the game.
No one's holding on Duran right now. Robbie Metz checks his swing. Gonzalez asks for an appeal, and of course, no, Sparky Burns says he did not go.
Well, it's tough for Sparky Burns. He's at second base. He doesn't have the exact angle that you want for a check swing.
I could tell from back here that he didn't.
I'm just saying, you really want to be down the line if you're judging check swings. But he's very well in tune of the game, as always, Pat Sparky Burns, one of the best umpires on the Cape.
Robbie Metz awaits the 2-0. He takes, and it's called for strike 1, just grazing the inside corner. Interesting by the shortstop Avant right now, not getting in behind the runner Duran. I mean, he's a guy who could take third on you if you're not being careful. That's what Quan was trying to do before. Not that big of a lead over there. And Robbie Metz now takes ball 3. Big hitters count, big opportunity for the Gatemen right now. What do they need to do to avoid leaving 12 runners in scoring position like last game?
Well, it's not small ball for sure, because they've been playing a lot of that and it really hasn't been working out too much. So I think they just need to hit, and I mean, get the ball over the infielders. No ground balls through the right side or left side. It's going to be really tough based on the depth of the infielders right now. Got to get the ball in the air off a really good pitcher.
Metz awaits the 3-1. It was on the inside corner, and he fouls it the other way. So now we'll get the second straight batter that gets a full count from Mitch Stallings. Duran just took the Duke pitcher for a ride to left field.
We saw him do it opposite field. Granted, it was a lefty hitter. Maybe Metz wants to try to do something similar, going opposite field on that breaking ball that works from the outside part of the plate back towards the outside corner if he gets one.
Metz awaits the payoff pitch. It's a swing and a ground ball to the shortstop, Avant. Ignores Duran, makes a good throw to first. Second out of the inning, but Duran, he's 90 feet away from scoring the game's first run.
It kind of works like a sack bunt of some sort for Robbie Metz, except now there's 2 outs. So that's why you wouldn't bunt in that situation. You can no longer sack fly that runner in. You need a base hit if you're Stephen Quan, and he's been pretty good at that.
Well, here's the guy that has 1 of 2 hits in this game. Stephen Quan hit a double deep to right center. His first at-bat was eventually picked off at second.
Here's a guy also who has 9 RBIs in his first 10 or 11 games as a Gateman.
Trying to make it 10 here. He takes the first pitch, called inside. Stephen Quan comes into this game hitting .372, and now timeout is called. Mike Roberts will come up to the mound. You know, it's only the third inning. I wonder if they're talking about a pitching change here. No, it looks like maybe they're just settling him down. No way you take out Stallings in the third inning, right? This is the guy who's the Friday night starter for Duke against a tough ACC conference this year and did pretty well, only a 4.50 ERA.
Well, depending on pitch counts and on innings limits for him, you never know, but he's been pitching really well. I think he's just kind of coming up to him, giving him a tip or two on what to do in this situation, because these games really important for the Kettleers, trying to keep that playoff positioning that they were in first place a few days ago. Now they're kind of slipping throughout. This is a very important game, making sure that they get out of this inning without giving up any runs. And with their runner 90 feet away, it's not the easiest thing to do with a good hitter at the plate.
Quan awaits the 1-0 after the timeout. Stallings deals. Called strike on the inside corner, so looks like the mound visit helped Stallings a bit. He throws a really good pitch in there. You know, for Cotuit, you might be second place right now in the West. You might be a half game out of first. You're on a 4-game losing streak, extended by the Gatemen last night. Duran takes off for home. The flip will not beat him. Heads up base running by Jaron Duran, and the Gatemen have a 1-0 lead.
Wow, that was extreme heads up base running by Jaron Duran. I mean, most runners aren't going to take off on that situation because the ball is in front of the catcher, but Duran notices that it's about halfway between the pitcher and the catcher out there in the grass, takes off, knowing that it's going to be a tough play for Stallings to flip it to Gonzalez.
A wild pitch for the pitcher, Mitch Stallings, who just had that mound visit with Mike Roberts. Can't be happy after that, but the Gatemen are happy. They have a lead, not in the 8th inning this time, but in the 3rd inning. That certainly helps. Now Stephen Quan, a ton of pressure off him, but he will take ball 3. So this inning not over yet. You got Tanner Dodson on deck.
And the Gatemen have had some 2-out hitting successes a few times in the past.
Quan drifts this one into center field. It'll bounce for a base hit. Stephen Quan keeps this 3rd inning alive with 2 outs. The Gatemen, you just talked about those 2-out rallies. Maybe they're trying to start one right now.
Top of the order up, too, and no better guy to start these rallies than Tanner Dodson and Stephen Quan. I mean, Stephen Quan, what can we say about him? He's just been getting hits. Any way, shape, or form. He's been putting the ball in play, getting sac flies in certain situations, and another mound visit.
Now time is called. This is going to be a call to the bullpen. Mike Roberts works his way out there. The Gatemen, they have a 1-0 lead. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Don't miss a minute of this station's pre- and post-game sports talk. Tune in on your smartphone with the Next Radio app. It's live and it's local. Download the free Next Radio app from the Google Play Store today. Registration is now open for the 2017 Wareham Gatemen Youth Clinics. The instruction clinics are open to boys and girls between ages 4 and 15. The clinics are a great opportunity to meet and learn from some of the best collegiate players in the country. Clinics are held Monday through Friday, depending on the player's off day. For more information and to sign up your young ball player, visit www.gatemen.org. Urgent care is now available at 4 Cape Cod healthcare locations: Hyannis, Falmouth, Sandwich, and Harwich. Open after hours and weekends, staffed by ER physicians. Expert care when you need it. Learn more at capecodhealth.org/urgent-care.
The Fuller Family Foundation is proud to support the excellent sportsmanship and character of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We are proud supporters of the CCBBL as well as many other wonderful Cape Cod organizations that serve our community.
The Wareham Gatemen would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
Well, the Cotuit Kettleers bullpen was cooking, and now they send Austin Kitchen to the mound.
Yeah, a lot was cooking up in that Cotuit bullpen, and now Kitchen on the mound, a former national champion with the Coastal Carolina 2 years ago, and also is a player who had a surgically repaired elbow previously in his career, so he's come off a lot of injury in his past, had his freshman year shortened, so was able to watch his Coastal Carolina team win the national championship, was not able to be a part of that late run for that team 2 years ago.
And now Stephen Kwan is picked off again. He'll hustle on down to second and make it in there. A base running mistake by Stephen Kwan, but it just happens to work out for him. Over there at first, Tolia he was a little sort of lazy, lackadaisical with the throw, and Kwan gets in.
But head coach Don Snedden and first base coach Sean Callahan cannot be happy with the way that the base running has gone for Stephen Kwan and for the rest of the Gatemen in some previous games. John Topa yesterday. A lot of rundowns, and William McIver in the past at second base, and that wasn't a big game against YD as well. Got to fix that stuff up. Make sure you're stealing at the right time. Can't be taking off too early on these lefty pitchers especially.
It's ruled as a stolen base. And Dodson, he takes strike one. Dodson struck out his first time with Kwan standing on second and no outs. Now he has another opportunity, this time with 2 outs here in the bottom of the third. The Wareham Gatemen lead 1-0 at Spillane Field. Kwan is on second. And Dodson takes this ball low. On deck, Kyle Kasser, who struck out looking back in the first.
Interesting to go with another lefty for Mike Roberts and the Cotuit team.
1-1. Swung on, fouled off.
Fastball a little bit slower for Kitchen than for the starter Mitch Stallings, but the breaking ball a lot different of a shape for Kitchen than for Stallings. I mentioned Stallings is more of a slurve type curveball slider, and Austin Kitchens is more of just a straight up and down curveball. It's pretty good though, and that's why he plays for a team that won a national championship just 2 years ago.
1-2, fouled off to the same spot on near the on-deck circle. Yeah, you mentioned that the Cotuit Cavaliers have thrown 2 lefties today. Just a couple hours before game time, Don Snedden created his lineup as if he thought that a righty was going out there. The Gatemen thought they were going to see Noah Davis again, who gave up 8 hits, 6 runs, 2 earned against the Gatemen. Ground ball up the middle. Getting the wave around third and heading for home is Kwan. The throw will not beat him. It's an RBI single for Tanner Dodson. The Gatemen lead 2-0.
How about that? Tanner Dodson, the 2-out magic continues for the Wareham Gatemen. Big piece of hitting right back up the middle where it came from. Seems to be Dodson's specialty is those line drive ground balls. Well hit right back up the middle. And Stephen Kwan scoring all the time on that. Once again, interesting you mentioned the 2 lefties for Cotuit. Brewster only has 2 lefties on their entire pitching staff.
New batter is Kyle Kasser after 2 consecutive 2-out singles by Stephen Kwan and Tanner Dodson. So Stephen Kwan getting himself picked off, actually it ended up working out. He's the guy that comes and scores the second run of this game.
Yeah, a bit of a fluky play. But, you're not going to get away with that every time, so Stephen Kwan still needs to be a little bit safer on the base paths. But it gets him a run, 2-0.
Runner goes. The throw from Gonzalez is not in time. It's a stolen base for Tanner Dodson. Now the Gatemen, they are continuing this pattern. 2-out single, take second base. Can Kyle Kasser come through?
Well, that was a really good throw from the catcher Gonzalez, and I think that if that was a fastball, that little difference between 90 miles an hour and 78 miles an hour might have gotten Dodson at second. It was close.
Kyle Kasser, ground ball to the second baseman. Alexander gives a little toss to Tolia, and that will do it for the third inning. But not before 2 runs scored by Jaron Duran on a wild pitch, and Stephen Kwan on an RBI base hit from Tanner Dodson. The Gatemen lead 2-0. We'll head to the 4th. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Fuller Family Foundation is proud to support the excellent sportsmanship and character of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
The Sacred Cod Tavern at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa, a quintessential New England dining experience for lunch or dinner, a proud member of leading hotels of the world.
Welcome back to the Gatemen Baseball Network. I'm Claudia Chikamian, joined by some Gatemen family, Kim and Mike Gregory, who is Griffin Roberts' family. So welcome to the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Thank you. Thank you.
So you guys were at the Cotuit game last night. You got to see Griffin pitch. What was it like seeing him pitch, especially in such an amazing game for him?
It was fun to see him in a different role as a starter because he has not been in that role with Wake Forest. So it was nice to kind of start the inning off clean and see him pitch really well, and on a beautiful night at a beautiful facility, and they got the win, so it was perfect.
Now, you guys are from Virginia, but as you guys were telling me, you've traveled so much to see him play. So what's it like being able to be so supportive and see him play at all these amazing places?
It's been really fun, you know, aside from those nights where it's been, you know, the end of the game didn't happen like it was supposed to or you wanted it to. But otherwise, we've got to go to some great places that we wouldn't otherwise go, and it's great to be there for him and support him.
Yeah, you guys were telling me, how many miles have you traveled to see him play?
29,300.
That's insane. So you were saying this is your first time at the Cape, so what's it been like here and seeing him play at such an amazing program like the Cape League?
Yes, our first time at the Cape, my first time in Massachusetts, if you don't count being in the airport in Boston. But, you know, what a great opportunity to play at this league against players of this caliber and have all of this attention. And, you know, there were so many scouts there last night. So it's just been great, and it's good to see him kind of rising to the occasion and performing well and having fun.
And like you were saying, this is the first time really going into that starting role, and now he's an all-star for the Cape League. So how proud are you that he's doing so well here?
Oh, so proud, so proud. You know, it was an adjustment for us this year at Wake Forest to have him in that closer role because he had always been a starter in high school. So this year was a big adjustment for us. So it's, you know, we're kind of getting back in our comfort zone now of having him be a starter.
Great. Thank you so much for your time, and enjoy the rest of your time here at the Cape.
All right, thank you.
Back to you guys.
Thank you very much, Claudia. Griffin Roberts, he certainly rose to the occasion last night. 6 scoreless innings. Now for the second time this summer, the Gatemen have a pitcher throw 6. Both times it's been Roberts. But right now, Zach Cohn, he faces Miller Hogan, who's ahead in the count 0-2. Nice to hear from the Roberts family.
Yeah, a little extra motivation for Griffin Roberts when his family arrives. And I'm sure they're really enjoying the Cape thus far, especially since it's her first time in Massachusetts. That's pretty cool, and see your son play in the Cape League.
Miller Hogan gets a pop-up, but it'll go foul out of play. It was just the other day when Claudia was talking to Miller Hogan's family, and he was pitching in front of his folks and in front of his extended family. It was still fantastic. So I guess it helps more than it hurts. I know when my dad watched me play, I would always get nervous and tense up. But
yeah, when my mom watches me broadcast, it usually is a decline. So maybe depends on the person.
All right, well, here is Miller Hogan, the 0-2, waiting for the pitch out of the windup, and he'll step off. Hogan has not pitched out of the stretch since he threw to Grayson Genista back in the first inning. And now he'll call time. He wants to talk this over with McIver. We saw that happen several times yesterday. McIver behind the plate and guys wanting to talk to him.
You're just going to get on the same page with your pitcher. It's always important. And if you're not taking too much time, the umpires won't give you anything for it. So Miller Hogan's been really good so far, though. I think that, you know, if he continues this, he's in good shape to go 6.
0-2, ground ball to Duran. Over to first, got him. 1 away. As a reminder, make sure to email the Gatemen Broadcast Network with any comments, questions, or concerns anytime by emailing pressbox@gatemen.org. That's pressbox@gatemen.org. Fairly simple email. And then social media is fairly simple, too. Follow @Wareham Gatemen, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, SoundCloud. You're watching on YouTube right now.
Yes, you literally have to type in Wareham Gatemen, and you're good. If you know the team name, you can find us.
Miller Hogan has 1 out in this inning, and he deals 1 strike here to Michael Tolia.
We mentioned Roberts' successes keeping the ball out of the outfield. Through 3 1/3 innings of work for Miller Hogan, only 2 balls into the outfield.
Now strike 2. Miller Hogan really working ahead in the count early. Really impressed by Duran over at third base. He told Don Sneddon, hey, I can play this position, and he's 3 for 3 so far, making throws over to first. Now strike 3 from Miller Hogan. 3 pitches, 3 strikes. Now 2 outs in the inning. Tolia is sent down. That strikeout brought to you by the law offices of Lang, Exaforest, and Bullard.
Another high heater gets Tolia. That's not 3 strikeouts, all of which have come on that high fastball from Miller Hogan. It's kind of been his put-away pitch today, even though that hasn't been his put-away pitch in the past. So just showing his versatility out there, the St. Louis Billiken, whatever that may be.
What is a Billiken? We'll never know.
I'm just going to look it up and get it over with.
So Michael Tolia just strikes out, and here is Genista. The only base runner that Hogan has allowed today was Tolia, who walked back in the first. Genista, a strikeout victim in the first to end the top of that inning. And now here we are in the top of the 4th. 2 outs, and the Gatemen, they have a 2-0 lead. Miller Hogan's got to love that, as opposed to Griffin Roberts last night, who 6 scoreless innings did not get a win because the Gatemen, they waited till the 8th to finally score.
Yeah, run support early on, very key for the Gatemen.
2-0, and now Miller Hogan falls into his first 3-0 count of the day.
Well, I have the result of what SLU's mascot is, the Billiken.
Please tell me.
He's a symbol of good luck on campus and around the world. I mean,
what?
It's a mythical good luck figure that represents things as they ought to be.
So they made it up.
But it was an illustrator's design.
The Billiken's 3-0 is called for a ball, and going on down to first is Grayson Genista. So the second walk of the afternoon.
Before he was SLU's mascot, he was a national sensation, a figure who was reproduced as dolls, marshmallow candies, metal banks, hat pins, pickle forks, belt buckles.
In this country?
Auto hood ornaments, salt and pepper shakers, bottles, and more.
Maybe the older generation can tell us something about that, but as far as I know, I've never seen a Billiken anywhere. Well, I see a Billiken right now. It's Miller Hogan, who in the 4th inning's been fantastic. He almost hits Thomas Dillard here, though, and gets him away from that inside part of the plate. Dillard with 2 outs, and the runner on first is Genista, who just drew a walk.
If 2-out walks are the worst that's going to come off of Miller Hogan.
Pickoff attempt, reached for by Sable.
If it's just going to be 2-out walks, though, I mean, he's going to be, flying through these innings like he has been already. But no hits for the Cotuit Cavaliers so far. Their bats have really been stale over the past 4 or 5 games.
Line drive into center. Under it the whole time was Stephen Kwan. And that will do the top of the 4th inning. We'll go into the bottom of the 4th. The Gatemen, they lead 2-0. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Do you know what that sound is? That's your new digital marketing department. And that'll be your new web designer. And that's Haibu, where these experts are joined by many more, from web designers to search marketing specialists who work hard to get your business noticed online and on mobile. Best of all, Haibu can do it all for you, or give you the tools to do it yourself. To find out more, go to haibu.com. That's HIBU.com, or call 855-464-HIBU. Oh, that'll be your next new customer. Haibu, made for business.
Red Shirt Fridays is a national program created to acknowledge, honor, and support our troops who put themselves in harm's way to defend our freedom. In support of this program, the Cape League teams will be wearing a specially designed red jersey every Friday. This special weekly celebration of Red Shirt Fridays is sponsored by 47 Brand, HP Hood, Cape Cod Regional Transit Authority, Advanced Embroidery, and the Cape League. Support our troops and join us by wearing red each Friday.
We're in the bottom of the fourth inning. Willie McIver, John Topa, Tristan Pompey, all 0 for 1 tonight, will take us out. Back in the bottom of the third, the Gatemen scored 2 runs on 3 hits, left 1 man on base. Stephen Kwan and Jaron Duran scored the 2 runs, respectively, for the Gatemen. And that 2-0 lead is something Miller Hogan, who's been dealing today, would love to see. Here, McIver faces Austin Kitchen, who came in to replace Mitch Stallings back in the third inning. He gives up a line drive that goes foul for Willie McIver, just a little ahead of that one, but he sure cranked it.
He's been cranking a lot of pitches recently. I mean, he got good contact on that ground out back in the second inning. He just was on the ground, but he's been unbelievable all season. What can you say about him? An all-star, a Cape League all-star, I'm sure.
He hits this one foul the other way now, and he's behind 1-2. I mean, McIver, he's a guy that was here since the first, week of June, really, playing with those tryout players, the temp players for the most part. The Gatemen fans, they've been knowing his name and cheering his name for quite a while now.
Yeah, he has a little bit of a cutout ad.
He swings and misses on strike 3, and oddly enough, tagged out by Dillard.
Little profile I saw was at Country Market today down the street, and there's a little profile of Willie McIver on the corner on the checkout screen. So he's becoming a little bit of a local favorite for the Gatemen.
He's got such a bubbly personality. Really likes to laugh and have a lot of fun in batting practice with these guys.
For sure. I mean, of course, his Would You Rather appearance with Ben Baird and Matt Feld is an all-time classic.
Ground ball by John Topa. It's going to be a tough play for the first baseman, and Tolia can't handle it. John Topa reaches with 1 out. We'll wait on an official scoring from that, but either way, Topa's aboard. Yeah, even if Tolia had fielded that cleanly, it would have been a tough play to flip it over to Kitchen in time, but it's ruled an error. The first of the game for Cotuit, and based on what we were talking about in the pregame, the team with errors will lose this ball game. It's not exactly going well for the Kettleers now.
Like I said, the Gatemen 1-7 in games where they have 2 or more errors. In other games, they are, 11-8-1, so it's a lot better of a record.
Pickoff throw to Topa. Topa was picked off last night after having a single in the second inning. Tolia made an error last night as well. It was a ball that went over his head into the Bermuda Triangle. It looked like he had a play on it. It was a fly ball from Luke Bonfield down the right field line that was originally ruled a double, and in between innings, they changed it to an error on the first baseman, Tolia. So 2 straight nights with errors. That's got to be tough for the first baseman.
3 consecutive pickoff attempts from the pitcher, Austin Kitchen. Keeping Topa close over there at first.
Tristan Pompey, the batter, takes ball. Both first basemen tonight, a little rivalry. At first for Cotuit, it's the UCLA Bruin, and at first base for the Gatemen, and in the batter's box right now, it's Sable from USC. That pitch was called a strike, by the way. Just getting ahead of myself.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for Ronald Adams to make a call.
Yeah, he has a little bit of a delayed call where he says strike and then lifts his fist up after the fact.
So we'll await the 0-1. Topa fakes going. Gonzalez thinks about throwing to first, but just gives it back to his pitcher, Kitchen. Whatever the elapsed time on this game is after it's all over, you can take away 5 minutes if there was another umpire in this game. And we'll await the 1-1. No, we won't. Topa has to scamper back to first. I mean, why not try for Austin Kitchen? Mitch Stallings picked off 2 runners in his limited work.
I mean, I just don't think John Topa's as much of a threat to steal as the other guys that, like, such as Stephen Kwan and Jaron Duran.
Another pickoff throw. We know Topa has the speed, but it's a matter of aggression with him. I think he's a more experienced, a bit of a smarter base runner.
Yeah, they saw him yesterday. He got picked off in between the bases yesterday, in between first and second, and I guess they're just trying to pick up on that.
Another pickoff throw from Kitchen, and now the Spillane crowd is really letting him hear it.
That is 7 pickoff attempts on this at-bat.
Wow.
It was 3 through a pitch, and it's a 1-1 count, and he's thrown 7 balls over to first base to try to get John Topa.
Topa now runs. It's a hit and run the other way from Pompey. He hits it out to right field. It'll land at the wall. Topa rounds third, heads for home. Pompey's in with an RBI double. The Gatemen lead 3-0. Back-to-back RBI nights for Tristan Pompey.
And finally, a big extra base hit for Tristan Pompey. I believe that's his first extra base hit since his 2 home run night on opening night here on his first night at Spillane Field. And boy, was that good piece of hitting by Pompey. We haven't seen him go opposite field that much either yet, and he just did exactly that, just using the raw power that he has to reach the wall opposite field out there to right near the Gatemen bullpen. And the hit and run, Topa kind of messing with the pitcher in Austin Kitchen a little bit.
Pompey messing with Kitchen a little bit now. Sable rolls a bunt foul down the first base line. Sam, before the game we were talking, and you said to me, you looked me dead in the eye, and you said Pompey's going to hit one out of here today. He came dangerously close, but either way, the result is still a good one for Wareham.
You know, that's not how I pictured it in my mind. I didn't picture an opposite field shot off the wall for Tristan Pompey. I pictured we expected a righty batter. I pictured him batting from the left side and cranking a shot, over near that scoreboard in right center.
So because of the error that put Topa on, it's an unearned run to Kitchen. But Pompey is most definitely his responsibility. Big swing and a miss, strike 2 from Sable.
Talk about Cotuit. This game is still a long way from over, but they're struggling a lot right now to hit the ball. And, these games, Wareham yesterday, Wareham today, Bourne tomorrow, Hyannis the day after that, then Bourne again. Lots of big division games for the Cotuit Kettleers, who are really trying to break out of this slump.
The 0-2 is in the dirt, blocked really well by the catcher Gonzalez. 3 doubles in this game for the Gatemen today. It's not often we see that. This is really a team that they love their singles.
Yeah, and hit them to the right spots today. I mean, a lot of these, or that first double by Kwan would have been an out had it been a little bit more to the left or a little bit more to the right, but got it right into that gap in right center. It's just all about the placement.
Ball 2 to Sable.
And this is a guy who could really use a hit right now, and is Blake Sable. He's been struggling at the plate recently.
Hitting 179 on the summer, 4 RBIs. Maybe number 5 in Pompey is on second base, but Sable, he does go around, and he'll get thrown out at first base. That's the second out of the inning. And the second strikeout of this inning, too, for Kitchen, who struck out McIver to lead off this inning, but a critical error by Tolia over at first base has allowed the Gatemen to extend the lead.
It just seems like errors are always just leading to runs, and I mean, they do most of the time in general, but it seems that in the past few games particularly, if you make an error, it's going to come back to haunt you, and it's exactly what's happened to Cotuit in this inning. Pompey with the RBI double makes the first baseman Tolia pay for his mistakes.
This one is high and near the head of Duran. The Cotuit pitchers tonight, Stallings and Kitchen, 7 strikeouts between them, and only 10 outs in this game for the Wareham, for the Wareham Gatemen. So really interesting. 70% of the outs at the plate have come via the K. Duran hits this one foul out of play. It's Kitchen on the mound. Talked about him having a good season his freshman year at Coastal Carolina. Was a Louisville Slugger freshman All-American. But that late injury just a spring ago did not allow him to take place in the team's national championship run. Duran flares this one out. The shortstop will call for it. Avant makes the play, and it's the third out of the inning. But another run scored for the Wareham Gatemen, an RBI double from Tristan Pompey. And Wareham leads 3-0. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Learning at Curry College extends beyond the classroom and is embedded in all that they do. Curry prepares students to engage in successful careers and active citizenship with a global perspective. Explore undergraduate majors, minors, and concentrations, including new majors in accounting, biochemistry, and software development. Online at www.curry.edu. It's back. The 2017 Friendlies Cape League All-Star Game will be played at Spillane Field, home of the Wareham Gatemen. Mark the date on your calendar, Saturday, July 22nd. Game time is 6 p.m., but the gates open at 2 p.m. One highlight will be the home run hitting contest. There will also be an autograph session and a large merchandise village with items from many of the teams. Be sure to buy your tickets now right here at the merchandise stand. Tickets are just $5, and part of the proceeds will support our Wareham Gatemen.
A little more run support for Miller Hogan in the fourth inning. And the Gatemen, they lead this ball game 3-0. We go to the top of the fifth. And Hogan, the St. Louis Billiken, is still out there dealing. He's been fantastic tonight. 3 strikeouts, but when he gets the outs, he's trusting his defense. Ground balls.
Yeah, Miller Hogan keeping the ball in the infield. Cotuit really trying to get something going off of him, but you know, you need multiple hitters to do some things. They have no hits yet off of Hogan.
Here's a fly ball deep to right. Pompey going back for it. He made the catch! Oh my goodness! Tristan Pompey puts his glove over the wall and makes the grab. Miller Hogan's no-hitter is still intact. Holy wow.
Well, that was wild. That ball was cranked out to right center, first of all. And Pompey, it just seems like he's a human shield out there and right. We've seen him do that once before now, and he's 2 for 2 on those at-the-wall attempts. And like I said last time, that wall is not comfortable to bang into. It's a big chain fence out there. And he's now tying his shoe because I guess something came undone on his way out there. But wow, what a grab, leaping up. Tough to see if that ball would have actually left the park. It looked like it might have, and really cool from Tristan Pompey to see that coming out of his repertoire.
Wow. So Pompey DHs his first couple weeks with the Gatemen. Now finally in right field, he's really showing off. Miller Hogan deals strike one. You know, Hogan coming into this fifth inning has, like Griffin Roberts last night, done a good job of keeping his pitch count down. He now just threw his 52nd pitch. And ground ball from Luke Alexander. This one makes the count 1-1 with 1 out. The Gatemen lead 3-0. It was almost 3-1. Wow, what a big swing from Brett Kinnaman and Tristan Pompey. He had his number. Hogan gets a big swing and a strike, and that's strike 3. Really great job by Miller Hogan. That strikeout brought to you by the law offices of Lang, Exaforest, and Bullard. 2 gone very quickly here in the fifth.
I'm just still in shock from that last play. That was wild from Tristan Pompey.
The WCTV crew chose an interesting night not to be available. Pop up, shallow center. Robbie Metz calls for it the whole way. He's backing up, and he's got it. That's the third out of the inning. A very quick fifth for Miller Hogan, highlighted by a fly out to the right fielder Tristan Pompey with a little excitement. He robs Brett Kinnaman of an extra base hit, maybe a home run. The Gatemen lead 3-0, and you're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. We are proud supporters of the CCBBL as well as many other wonderful Cape Cod organizations that serve our community. The Wareham Gatemen would like to thank Mr. Brian Clue and Smartco Services LLC located in Taunton, Massachusetts for being the official sponsors of the Gatemen Player Development Program. The Player Development Program aims to improve both the players' and interns' skills and prepares them for a career in professional baseball. Again, a sincere thank you to Mr. Brian Clue and Smartco Services. Visit Stars Restaurant at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa for a world-class dining experience, a proud member of leading hotels of the world.
Bottom of the fifth. Miller Hogan still keeping the Cotuit Kettleers scoreless, but man, it was a bit closer to being the first hit of the night for a Cotuit Kettleer. Brett Kinnaman took a deep fly ball out to right field, robbed by Pompey. Here's Robbie Metz, the 9-hitter for the Wareham Gatemen.
You know, when I think back to what was going through my mind during that play, there was honestly never a doubt that he was going to catch that. If that ball was staying in the park, I was like...
Robbie Metz drops down a surprise bunt. It's fielded by Kitchen, and Metz beats it out. An infield bunt single for Robbie Metz. The Gatemen, they're in business here in the fifth. 2 runs in the third, 1 in the fourth. Who knows what we're in store for now?
Robbie Metz had just 2 hits in his last 7 games. So that's a good way to get on for a guy who's struggling to hit the ball a little bit and helping the guys in the top of the order get some opportunities. A former Cape League All-Star knows the situations, knows that his team's already up by 3. They're really just trying to take it 1 run at a time on offense at this point in the game.
Here's Stephen Kwan to face Austin Kitchen. He shows bunt. This ball's in the dirt. Man, Dillard is like a vacuum back there.
Yeah,
it always ends up in his glove.
Really good defensively, and then the one play where he kind of messes up, it costs him a run. Jaron Duran comes across on a wild pitch, but Dillard still kept it in front of him, just a little bit too far in front of him on that play.
Kwan is 2 for 2 today. Pickoff throw to Metz. The third baseman, Cone, is a couple steps in on the infield grass, maybe expecting Kwan to bunt, but if he doesn't, he's got the power, and he really likes to slap the ball the opposite way. He could just blow one right by the third baseman. Kwan shows bunt, pulls it back. It'll be called a strike. Count now 1-1. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. The Wareham Gatemen lead 3-0. You're watching on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Thank you for joining us. Connor Federico, Sam Corman with you tonight. We've heard from our Jacob Toby and Claudia Chakamian. Another pickoff throw to Robbie Metz, who started off this bottom of the 5th with a bunt down the third base line, rather. Miller Hogan, he's dealt 5 scoreless innings for the Gatemen, as he tends to do. And, man, he's only given up 2 walks. and a dangerous fly ball out to right that did him no harm.
Well, this is game 12 for Stephen Kwan. This is his 7th multi-hit game.
Wow.
Already.
Another pickoff throw, but Metz has the pitcher Kitchen read all the way.
And he's done it without any extra base hits either. I mean, he just gets on base. I've really never seen I haven't seen a guy in the Cape League that's been like him so far. Just a guy that's able to just get a hit, get a single every time he comes up.
Kwan has an extra base hit tonight, a double. This one goes right off the glove of Dillard and rolls back to the backstop. Metz thinking about 3. He'll stay at 2. We talked up Dillard, and now he lets a passed ball go by him. Metz is in scoring position with nobody out. The bunt situation is still on for Stephen Kwan. 2-1 count. We'll see what he does. And you have Tanner Dodson, the Gatemen's leading hitter, on deck. Plus the fact he may come in to pitch. He's hot in the bullpen. He was in the bullpen. He's warmed up. The last time he DH'd and then hit, the last time he DH'd and then pitched, it was a lot of trouble for the Brewster dugout to understand. So we'll see how this works as the game progresses. Kwan swings and drives this one deep out to right center. Chasing it, the center fielder Genista. He'll make the catch. Robbie Metz moves from second to third. He's in there with no throw. Good piece of hitting by Stephen Kwan. He does his job, and Metz is on third.
It's been a really good day for Stephen Kwan so far. A double, a single, a run scored, a stolen base. Granted, he got caught in a rundown. Never good to make those base running errors, but also really good situational hitting, getting Metz over to third there on a sac fly deep into the outfield. This is the second time we've seen Kwan get it that deep in Spillane Field, about 380, 390 feet out there, and showing some power that we didn't know he had.
Entire Cotuit infield in. Dodson swings at the first pitch as he sees and fouls it off. Dodson hitting from the right for the 3rd time tonight. Struck out in the first against Mitch Stallings and then had a single in the 3rd. He was the first batter that Austin Kitchen faced, and now he's got him again here in the 5th in a tight situation. Metz on third, his responsibility. Man, that was a slow-looking pitch from Kitchen, and Dodson fouls it off again, down in a hole 0-2.
Well, Dodson had delivered a big 2-out single back in the 3rd to get the Gatemen on the board, or excuse me, get the Gatemen's second run of that inning, but trying to get another big situational hit right here with 1 out.
He swings on the 0-2. It looked like he was going to take there until he saw that pitch was most definitely a strike and just fouls it away. Dodson, a former draft pick coming out of high school in 2015, was a 31st round selection by the New York Mets, but elected to play for the Cal Bears, where he hit .297 this spring. The 0-2 with 1 out. Metz is on third. Dodson is rung up, strike 3. He asks if it was swinging or looking, and it looked like Ronald Adams was going to call that one anyway. So with a runner on third and 1 out, Dodson fails to bring Metz home. Now it's up to Kyle Kasser.
Number 13, Kyle Kasser from Oregon.
Yeah, really good pitch there from Austin Kitchen on the inside part of the plate. Looked like Dodson thought it was a ball, taking a little bit, but he might have gone around. Who knows? We don't know up here for sure. They know down there, but either way, Dodson down. Now a big opportunity for Kasser.
Kasser takes a breaking ball in for strike 1. On deck, Willie McIver. Both Kasser and Willie are 0 for 2 today. Austin Kitchen now out of the windup with 2 outs and the runner on third. Kasser pops this one to shallow left center. Under it, the shortstop, Avant, and he drops it. Moving to second is Kasser. Robbie Metz scores. The Gatemen lead 4-0, and wouldn't you know, it's the second error of the game for the Cotuit Kettleers.
Yeah, really, you can't make that play if you're the shortstop. Avant, I mean, it looked like he might have lost it in the sun a little bit, not wearing sunglasses out there. But, this league, those kind of runs hurt for manager Mike Roberts and for the rest of the Cotuit squad. Already down in this game, and your pitcher gives you a huge opportunity to get out of this inning scoreless, and they're unable to do so because of some bad defense once again.
It'll be ruled an E6, and Kyle Kasser is on second. Robbie Metz scores. Willie McIver, ground ball to the third baseman. Cone skips it, and not being able to pick it out of the dirt is Tolia. That'll be the third error of the day, second of this inning for the Cotuit Kettleers. Willie McIver's aboard.
Left fielder number 14, John Topa.
It's an E5 on the third baseman Cone, so the left side of the infield, Avant and Cone sort of letting down their pitcher right now, Austin Kitchen. 2 unearned runs in the past 2 innings. The Gatemen, they have now scored in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th, and here's John Topa. This inning's far from over. 2 outs, runners on the corners. Gatemen just scored on an E6 pop-up that, it's definitely a tough play for Avant. He had to come out of the shadows and into the sunlight, drops the ball. But maybe the right thing to do was let your left fielder Kinnaman take care of it.
Yeah, it was kind of a no man's land out there. You couldn't really tell if Kinnaman got the right jump on it at the beginning, and that might have decided if he was going to get there in time.
John Topa lifts this one out towards right field. Ranging for it and letting it sail foul is the right fielder Conine. Interesting, that ball lands in play, and for the second time tonight, the right side of the diamond, Tolia at first and Conine in right now, they both let balls just land that maybe they would have gotten if they had run it out for him.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Conine really chased that one down with all of his might. And we've seen Jaron Duran from second base before cover all that ground and get out there to shallow right. So it's definitely possible.
Topa takes the ball in the dirt, tells Kasser to hold up. Playing at an opposing ballpark, it always has its disadvantages, but you got to think the mindset is run until you hit the wall. That's what Tristan Pompey did just in the top of this 5th.
And in certain cases, such as Orleans, there is no wall, and you just run up the hill.
John Topa awaits Kitchen's 2-1. He flies it out to right field. Same spot. Canine will watch it go out of play this time. So now 2-2, 2 outs, runners on first and third for John Topa. A West Division All-Star, recently named to the team, one of 6 Gatemen. And that includes Tristan Pompey, who will hit in the home run derby.
Well, you have Dodson, Kasser, McIver, Topa. 2, 3, 4, 5 today. All-Stars up and down in the heart of the order. That's why they call it the heart of the order.
Willie McIver has a huge lead, and now he's in a pickle. Kasser is going to wait to take off for home, and McIver's still in the rundown. Right now, it seems Cotuit's not sure how to play this. Kasser's still in the rundown. This is crazy right now. Kasser heads back towards home. The pitcher can't get him, and finally Kasser's picked off. John Topa is not allowed the opportunity to hit. Interesting call by the Gatemen, but they do score in this 5th inning. Kyle Kasser is tagged out in the third baseline. So we'll go to the top of the 6th. The Gatemen, they lead this one 4-0 now. You're watching Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. We're back in the top of the 6th. The Gatemen lead 4-0. And for the second straight inning, the bottom of the 4th and the bottom of the 5th, the Gatemen score 1 run on 1 hit, 1 error, and 1 man left on base. Both of those runs unearned, by the way, for Austin Kitchen. Miller Hogan's back out for the 6th. He deals ball 1 to Ivan Gonzalez.
This one's been a magical number for the Gatemen today. So far for Cotuit, it's been 0. It's almost all the way across the board.
Miller Hogan, 3-3 in white deals, and Gonzalez lifts this one to left. Tracking it is Topa along the foul line near the wall and makes the catch. 1 away.
Well, for Miller Hogan, it doesn't matter how it's getting done. It's the fact that Cotuit's swinging really early in the count and not putting the ball where they want it to go. So Miller Hogan's taking that and keeping his pitch count down because of it, and I'm sure he's really appreciating the Cotuit lineup swinging early on in the count and getting under the ball recently, more recently than the beginning of the game where he was getting guys to ground out.
Griffin Conine is up for the 3rd time tonight, 0 for 2. He takes strike 1 from Miller Hogan. Conine, he was drafted in 2015's MLB draft by the Miami Marlins, the same round that Tanner Dodson was taken by the New York Mets back in 2015, the 31st round, ball 1. And interestingly enough, you know, Conine was taken by the Marlins, who are now the Miami Marlins, but his father, Jeff, played with the Florida Marlins, where he won 2 World Series. And Griffin Conine turns it down, says, nope, I'm going to go to Duke. And he's been great for Duke so far.
I think I remember Jeff Conine playing back in the day. I didn't really put that together, those two, father and son. But my baseball memory has enough in the tank.
He played till about the end of the decade.
Oh, okay.
And finished up his career with the Phillies, the Reds, and the Mets after playing most of his career with the Marlins and the Orioles. The beginning of his career with the Royals. So 6 MLB teams in 17 seasons. And his son Griffin Conine works a walk here. 3rd of the night for Miller Hogan. Talked about Hogan's strikeout to walk ratio being so great. Tonight, only 4 strikeouts and 3 walks.
Well, when you're not giving up any hits, I guess you can walk as many guys as you want, as long as it's not 4 consecutively. But Miller Hogan, every time he's walked a guy, he's gotten the next guy out. So, see if that continues.
Here's Zach Cohn. Pickoff move by Miller Hogan. Does not get Conine. Two Duke Blue Devils working 1-2 in this Cotuit lineup tonight.
2 Duke Blue Devil All-Stars as well.
Yep. Out of the stretch, swing and a miss from Cohn. Cohn with Duke this year. He's a sophomore this spring, hit .291 in 57 games. Hit 2 homers, 28 RBIs. He's got the speed, 12 stolen bases as well. Conine's on first. He had 9 stolen bases this spring, so Hogan will check on him, and he's in safely.
Cohen's really been struggling recently since being named an All-Star. He's just 2 for his last 21, his last 5 games.
Swing and a miss from Cohn, strike 2. Gatemen lead 4-0. 1 out here in the top of the 6th. Miller Hogan working into his 6th inning of action for the Gatemen. This is the final time we'll see him in a Wareham uniform, and he's really putting on a show. Out of the stretch. Hogan breathes, kicks, fires. Foul ball. We'll do the 0-2 again.
And that's another thing with this Cotuit lineup so far. They haven't really been spoiling pitches, staying alive in counts, extending the counts in Hogan, and once again, his pitch count's been really low coming into the 6th inning, and that's, you know, this is the 2nd straight day where Cotuit or Gatemen pitchers have been able to go into the 6th inning on this Cotuit lineup. Can't let them can't get bossed around too much.
Snap throw by McIver down to first. Sable's tag picked out of the dirt. not applied in time. Little Pac-12 link up right there. McIver behind the plate, Sable at first. We'll await Miller Hogan's 1-2. Number 33 in white. The Blue Valley Southwest High School grad. Deals, lifted in foul territory. Willie McIver makes the catch. That's the second out of the inning. Conine still over there on first. And now it'll be Michael Tolia. Another Pac-12 guy, UCLA. This season with the Bruins, was named a freshman All-American by Collegiate Baseball and Perfect Game. Was an All-Pac-12 honorable mention. Impressive as a freshman. Pac-12 does not have an all-freshman team. Miller Hogan really taking his time now here in this sixth. Pickoff throw to Conine, and Sable gives the ball back. Cotuit on a 4-game losing streak. Wareham hoping to extend their winning streak to 2 games. This pitch off speed just misses outside. The Gatemen last night, they improved to 7-7-1 against the Western Division. They have not been over 500 against the division this year. Blake Sable makes a flashy play with the glove and steps on the bag himself for the 3rd out of this inning. Miller Hogan has no-hit the Cotuit Kettleers through 6 innings. He gives Willie McIver a big hug, and that will more than likely do his Gateman career. What a performance. We'll go to our Jacob Toby with an Around the Cape update.
Thank you very much, Connor. And we start with the Brewster Whitecaps hosting the Harwich Mariners, a 10-2 lead for the Mariners in the top of the second. Mickey Gasper, a 2-run shot, his 5th home run of the season. Josh Smith, a home run as well in this one. That's his first of the season. Tyler Baum, the starting pitcher for the Mariners. 6 innings, 2 earned runs, and 5 strikeouts. Move it over to YD playing at Falmouth. The Commodores losing that one 2-1 in the top of the 6th. A lot of home runs, guys, here on the Cape tonight. Alec Baum, his home run, his 4th of the season. Jake Slaughter scores on a wild pitch for YD. Move it over. Orleans at Hyannis, an 8-1 lead for the Firebirds in the bottom of the 4th. Steve Passatempo, a home run, his 2nd of the season. Rami Gonzalez, a 3-run shot in that one for the Birds, his 4th of the season. A lot of home runs tonight. And the final game, Bourne at Chatham, a 1-0 lead for the Anglers over the Bravos. Jeremy Pena scoring on a fielder's choice there. Guys, back to you.
Thank you very much, Jacob. You know, we are watching that Falmouth YD game very closely, and I hate to correct you, but Falmouth just tied the game up 2-2, an Alec Bohm homer. He's patting his chest saying, my bad. There's nothing he could have done about that. I mean, scoring happens so quickly in this league. We read a score and then it changes.
What a season. What a shocking season from the Wichita State Shockers this year.
I'm not shocked at all.
Grayson Genista and Alec Bohm, both of them having really impressive seasons. Both going to be on the All-Star rosters for the Western Division. And Wichita State making their name noticed here in the Cape, on the Cape, I'm sorry, Jacob Toby.
Fun fact about Miller Hogan, he might not be done. We're not sure about his status yet, but I just said that based on all of his teammates giving him hugs and high fives after he came in after that 6th inning. Not a single Cotuit Kettleer has gotten a hit off of Hogan tonight. He's walked 3, but left them all stranded. 1 in the 1st, 1 in the 4th, 1 in the 6th. What an outstanding performance from Miller Hogan. We know we'll probably see Tanner Dodson after him. It's just a matter of when. But first, the bottom of the 6th. John Topol will lead off after getting stranded at the plate after a wild rundown for Willie McIver and Kyle Kasser to end the 5th. And Topa takes called strike 1. That's got to be frustrating having a golden RBI chance taken away from you.
I mean, with the way the Gatemen have been running, base running recently,
That's going to be called ball 1, I believe. It's hard to tell based on what Ronald Adams does.
It was a ball outside, I believe.
This is definitely outside, now 2-1. I think what Adams does, he shows up the count after every pitch, and I'm getting that confused with the fist for a strike call. So we'll await the 2-1. John Topa flares this one foul out of play. New pitcher for Cotuit, it's Brian Rapp, who was originally supposed to be a temp player on this Gatemen roster, but never came. And Topa takes ball high.
Yeah, Rapp, a BC Eagle, 3-3 with a 4.90 ERA in 10 starts this season in the ACC. Seems to be a lot of ACC guys in this Cotuit team.
John Topa pops this one up foul. And this full count continues. So Austin Kitchen, he comes in. He gave up a couple runs to the Wareham Gatemen. They have that 4 spot on the scoreboard that we've asked them to get, and John Topa strikes out looking. Called strike 3 on a full count. And this will bring up Tristan Pompey, batting from the left side for the first time tonight, facing a righty.
Well, Rapp can definitely hit 95 with his fastball. That's his thing. So something a little bit different from Kitchen and Stallings, who weren't guys with that 95-mile-an-hour heater, but had more prominent off-speed stuff.
Rapp deals to Tristan Pompey. In 2015, Rapp played his collegiate summer baseball with the Martha's Vineyard Sharks of the Futures League. And Pompey takes called strike 1. 1-1, 1 out. Here in the bottom of the 6th, the Gatemen lead 4-0. In his time with Martha's Vineyard, Rapp had a 2.51 ERA in 2 starts and 16 more relief appearances, 51 strikeouts. He's dealing now to Tristan Pompey, who lifts this one deep into right field. Chasing it is the center fielder, Genista, and he's under it near the wall. We thought Pompey would maybe rob a home run and then hit one himself, but he was awful close. But those Spillane walls, they're just too deep.
Just got a little bit under it, too, for Pompey. A little bit too high in the air for him. Got a little bit under that fastball and just skied it right to Genista. No problems for him, but Pompey's got to be pretty happy with his day so far. That robbery out in right center. And then an RBI double back in the 4th as well. So he's certainly produced. Also had an RBI yesterday.
Rapp now faces Blake Sable, who takes the first pitch inside. Rapp, a guy similar to the Gatemen's Luke Bonfield, who hails originally from New Jersey, played high school ball there, and then went to IMG Academy in Florida for his senior year. And Sable takes called ball 2. Rapp from Mendham, New Jersey, where he played 3 years for Del Barton High School. And Bonfield from Skillman, New Jersey. Bonfield fouls the 2-0 pitch off. Sable, what did I say?
You said Bonfield because you were talking about Luke Bonfield's comparison.
Well, I mean, Bonfield was hitting in this 7 spot last night. Sam just sort of gave me a look and pointed at his scorebook. I'm not sure what I said. Sable takes ball 3. It sort of happens when you just watch baseball and ramble on for 3 hours. Sometimes you don't know what you're talking about.
It's also got to be comforting for Bonfield to have a new teammate coming with the Gatemen.
And number 4 in white takes ball 4 outside. It's a 2-out walk for Blake Sable. Yeah, you mentioned Barrett Lowski. Matt Feld was talking about him in the pregame show a little bit. A new arrival for these Gatemen, a guy who very soon will replace Miller Hogan on the roster. Yeah, both Arkansas guys.
Another Razorback arriving. Talk about disappointment. Must have been very tough to take that loss to a rival LSU team. That SEC championship would have meant a lot to the fans down in Fayetteville for sure. A team or a school that's really lacked championship winning talent.
This ball hits Duran, and he'll jog on down to first. So now this inning sort of getting away from Rapp. He issues a walk to Sable, hit by pitch to Duran. All with 2 outs. Gatemen lead 4-0 in the bottom of the 6th. Connor Federico, Sam Corman with you. Great night for baseball here at Spillane. Nice crowd on hand tonight. 5:30 start. Now we've got 7:27 here on the East Coast. Sunset around 8:20 tonight.
The Gatemen put together a 2-out rally in the 3rd inning. And now 2 outs in the 6th. A walk and a hit by pitch. Not exactly a rally, but getting some help from Brian Rapp to try to generate something. You got a runner in scoring position now. Robbie Metz, who has a bunt single, now looking to drive the ball into the outfield.
Jaron Duran is leading so far off first, he might as well be at second with his speed. And Robbie Metz takes strike 1 down the middle. Rapp out of the stretch, taking his signs from the catcher Gonzalez. The 0-1. Swing and a miss. Good pitch by Rapp. Fooled Metz. Now he's in an 0-2 hole. Runner in scoring position, and then Duran on first base as well. On deck, Stephen Kwan, who's 2 for 3 today with a run scored. Metz on 0-2 fouls this one off, and the at-bat continues. Sun setting nicely here on Spillane. Some shadows for the left fielder Kinnaman. Other than that, infield is completely dark. Metz swings and misses on strike 3, and that will do the 6th inning. Brian Rapp works himself into a bit of trouble, but gets out of it. We'll go to the top of the 7th. The Gatemen lead 4-0. And you're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Cape Cod Baseball League is all about family, and it's all about fun. Friendly's is all about family and fun and is proud to sponsor the 2017 baseball season. Friendly's, life with extra sprinkles.
Baseball Factory, a proud partner of the Cape League since 1991, holds over 600 events nationwide for players ages 8 through 18, including 3 training weeks here in the Cape. Baseball Factory alumni have played on every Division I college program across the nation, plus 400 have made it to the majors. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn how you can build your way to greatness.
Curry College offers 14 NCAA Division III athletic teams in sports such as football, baseball, softball, basketball, hockey, soccer, lacrosse, tennis, cross country, and volleyball. Read about the success of the Curry Colonels and their championship teams. It's all online at www.curry.edu.
After 6 innings of no-hit baseball, Miller Hogan is back out to pitch the 7th. We knew coming into this one, this would be his final start for the Gatemen. We thought he would be done after the 5th. We thought he'd be done after the 6th. And now, working his pitch count now, he's facing Genista, Dillard, and Kinnaman here in the 7th.
Yeah, Hogan's thrown 70 pitches through 6 innings thus far. And he's been lights out.
The first pitch is a called strike to Genista. We have not seen a Gateman pitcher go 7 innings or even pitch in the 7th all summer. At the same time, we haven't seen a pitcher who's doing what Hogan's doing right now, no hitting the opposition. Ground ball, and that's going to change. It's the first base hit of this game, and it comes from Grayson Genista. Goes right over the glove of Miller Hogan. Wow, what an impressive performance from Hogan tonight.
I mean, it still is impressive. Despite that hit, it's only the first one of the game for Cotuit. Now it still comes in a leadoff spot. So they're trying to mount something off of that good piece of hitting by Grayson Genista, knocking it right over the head of Hogan. Tough break, though, for Miller Hogan, though, right over his head. Just a little bit of a better bounce. He might have had an opportunity to glove that one down.
Pitches out of the stretch to Thomas Dillard, who fouls this one back near us. Strike one. Kinnaman's on deck. He hit that long fly ball to Pompey that he caught leaping at the wall. That was back in the 5th. Sable holding on. Genista. Check swing. The appeal down to David Viveros. He says no. Dillard did not go. Genista over at first, not much of a threat to go. Only stole 2 bases for the 2016 Cotuit Kettleers. A ground ball foul by Dillard. Long at bat here, 1-2. Miller Hogan is in the driver's seat. Against the guy Dillard, who Ole Miss athletics runs through his blood. Grew up in Oxford, attends Ole Miss now, will be a sophomore next year. Hogan out of the stretch. Called strike 3 on the inside corner. Dillard's rung up. First out of this 7th inning for Miller Hogan. That strikeout brought to you by the law offices of Lang, Exafaris, and Bullard.
Electric from Miller Hogan right there, inside corner. Dillard fooled, takes it all the way, and rung up by the home plate umpire, Ronald Adams.
Miller Hogan faces Brett Kinnaman now. 1-0. Kinnaman's 0 for 2 on the day, but maybe if we're playing at Lowell Park, he's 1 for 2 with a solo shot.
Yeah, he took that one pretty far, given that fence out in right center field.
He hits this one pretty deep again, but Stephen Kwan is under it the whole time. The center fielder makes the catch. Genista returns to first. 2 away.
So Hogan surrenders the leadoff single, but then gets 2 quick outs, and all of a sudden Cotuit in a very similar position than they have been all game, yet to have a runner in the scoring position still. There's another runner on first, 2 outs for them, and that's tough to work with for a baseball club. You know, you can't rely on 2-out hits to carry you the entire way. The Gatemen have done that a little bit today, but have had some runs in some other fashion as well.
Hogan throws over to the runner on first, Genista, who's back in time. Luke Alexander follows near Thomas Dillard in the lineup. He's a Mississippi State Bulldog, and he swings and misses on strike 1. Only hit .222 his sophomore season, but 5 home runs, 21 RBIs, 5 stolen bases. Impressive in the SEC through 59 games. Genista leads off first. Hogan deals to the plate. Swing and a miss. Ball out of the zone in the dirt. Now Alexander's behind 0-2.
Yeah, pretty wild swing there from Alexander. Mentioned the Ole Miss Mississippi State rivalry in this lineup. Cool to see these guys get together. Also must have been pretty cool to see, you know, 2 of those College World Series final starters, Antoine Duplantis, playing on the same team as Jonathan India.
Strike 3, Miller Hogan, 7 shutout innings of 1-hit baseball. Strikes out Luke Alexander. That strikeout brought to you by the law offices of Lang, Exaforest, and Bullard. The Gatemen lead 4-0, and we are off to the 7th inning stretch, presented by Eastern Propane and Oil. Proud to sponsor the Gatemen with locations on and off the Cape. More Gatemen baseball after the break on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
The Wareham Gatemen and the visiting team, the Cape Cod Baseball League, and the NCAA promote good sportsmanship by student athletes, coaches, and spectators. We request your cooperation and positive support of the participants and officials. Profanity, racial or sexist comments, or other intimidating actions directed at officials, student athletes, coaches, or team representatives will not be tolerated and are grounds for removal from this ballpark.
Want to hear more about today's game, players, and breaking sports updates? Then download the free Next Radio app from the Google Play Store and tune to this station. It's live. It's local FM radio wherever you go. The Next Radio app. Get it today. Visit Stars Restaurant at Chatham Bars Inn Resort and Spa for a world-class dining experience, a proud member of leading hotels of the world.
Seven scoreless innings for Miller Hogan. His night is most definitely done. Wow, really incredible stuff from the starter from St. Louis University. The Billiken finishes his Gateman career tonight, and man, it was a performance like we haven't seen this season. Now it's Brian Rapp facing Stephen Kwan, the leadoff man in this order, leading off here in the bottom of the 7th inning. And on a night where the Gatemen hitters, they shut down the Cotuit lineup, they win 1-0 in Cotuit. Fly ball foul by Kwan. Coach Maxwell, Daryl Maxwell, one of the assistant coaches and the assistant GM for this Gatemen team, he says to us, that might have been the best pitching performance I've seen from three guys. Roberts,
Fitzstadler.
Yeah, Robert Stadler and Canine, as Kwan swings at strike 2, that I've seen in my 11 years coaching for this team. Fast forward to tonight. Miller Hogan goes 6 innings without giving up a hit, gives one up in the 7th, but still 7 scoreless. Kwan flies this one to center. Under it, Genista. He's got it. 1 down.
Yeah, I mean, the pitching these past few days has been incredible, but you also have to, shift not the blame, but, the weight of what's going on to this Cotuit batting order. I mean, they've really struggled over the past few games especially. And right now, sitting with 1 hit, that's half of what they've been averaging over the past 2 games. They've been averaging 2 hits a game.
Tanner Dodson fouls this one off. Miller Hogan, by the way, 21 straight scoreless innings. So he gives up 3 runs early in the summer, and now this far later, I mean, wow, what an incredible performance from him. And now he's up on the dugout with the rest of his teammates watching his offense, hoping for a little more run support. Tanner Dodson at the plate, we might see him next, who knows?
And the most important thing, I'm sure Miller Hogan feels like he's a lot better of a pitcher than he was when he got here to Wareham.
Dodson takes outside. Just as a reminder, make sure to email us at the Gatemen Baseball Network with any questions, comments, or concerns anytime by emailing pressbox@gatemen.org. Rapp against Dodson. The 2-1. Taken low, now 3-1. Gatemen lead 4-1. 2 runs in the 3rd, 1 run in the 4th, and 1 run in the 5th. Those 2 latter runs, both unearned on errors. Cotuit has 3 of them tonight. Dodson into shallow left. Coming on and making the play is Kinnaman. Dodson's retired. 2 gone. Up now, Kyle Kasser. He's 0 for 3 tonight. Reached on an error by the shortstop Avant back in the 5th. That was the play that allowed Robbie Metz to score. The 4th run of this ball game.
Kyle Kasser also got caught in a 1-3-6-5, 2-1, 2-5, 1-6 rundown.
Kasser fouls this one off his leg. Are you listing the digits of pi, or are you trying to explain a baseball play?
Well, pitcher to the first baseman, back to the shortstop to the third baseman to try to get McIver, and they shifted the play to Kasser, so catcher, third baseman, pitcher, shortstop. Cotuit did a really nice job forming the lines at the end of their rundown, which you're supposed to do.
Kasser takes strike. This is sort of an off-topic question, but now that you just listed off that long number, I wonder if there's ever been a put-out in baseball that goes the digits of pi. 3, 1, 4, 1, 5. The 9 is probably the throw-off.
Yes.
That probably doesn't
never
happen. I'd be willing to bet a 3, 1, 4, 1, 5 has happened. Kasser ground ball. This could be a 5-3. It is. It's the 3rd out of the inning, and we will go to the top of the 8th. It's a 1-2-3 for the top of the Gatemen order, but they still lead 4-0 here at Spillane. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Earn a bachelor's or master's degree, complete a certificate, or take a single course through the Division of Continuing Education and Graduate Studies at Curry College. Classes run days, evenings, and weekends in Milton and Plymouth. To learn more about programs in business, criminal justice, education, nursing, and more, visit curry.edu.
The Wareham Gatemen would like to thank Franklin Sports for their sponsorship of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Franklin is yet again proud to be the official batting glove of the Cape Cod Baseball League. Throughout the summer, all 10 Cape League teams are wearing their own custom team batting gloves, courtesy of Franklin Sports. To order your favorite team's design or to create your own, visit franklinsports.com/custom. Enter code CCBL20 for 20% off your purchase. From Cape Cod to the major leagues, only the best hitters in baseball wear Franklin gloves.
The second half of a pitching dynamic duo for the Wareham Gatemen takes the mound here in the top of the 8th. Tanner Dodson, he replaces Miller Hogan after 7 shutout innings. Dodson tonight at the plate as a DH, 1 for 4 with an RBI and a stolen base. We've seen him do this time and time again, and here he is in the 8th.
Yeah, last time Miller Hogan was lights out against the Brewster Whitecaps at Spillane Field, Dodson came in and said, I'll take that win, because the Gatemen weren't providing him any run support. So Dodson came in, got the win. Brett Canine later got the save in that game. So, I mean, Dodson's really been good in his past few outings especially. He did give up a run in that game against Brewster, but he had a really nice recovery after that, and that's really what showed.
Batting for Chandler Avant in the 8th hole is John Cresto. The pinch hitter swings on the first pitch, grounds it to the third baseman Duran. Makes a strong throw. Sable stretches, keeps his foot on the bag. 1 away.
Wow, I feel like Blake Sable has gotten so much better at first base throughout the season. I mean, just that play to stretch out, have the presence of mind to do that as a first baseman. It's tough. It's a tough play to make. I mean, while you're making that catch, reaching out and stretching as well. But Sable's just improved at first base throughout the season.
Strike 1 taken by Ivan Gonzalez. You know, Sable, he has that 6'4" frame over there. Willie McIver is only 6'2", so he's probably the better option. Bonfield 6'3", but a converted outfielder, doesn't have as much experience at first, even though the Gatemen are trying to get him that. Dodson deals. Hot shot to Kasser. The shortstop ranges over and makes a good throw for the second out of the inning. Tanner Dodson making quick work of these Cotuit bats.
Now, if you're an MLB fan who isn't a fan of the slow pace of play that's dominating MLB headlines right now, Tanner Dodson's your guy. Come to a Gatemen game and watch this guy pitch, dealing pitch after pitch. No hesitation at all for Tanner Dodson. He won't even wait for the guy to get in the batter's box.
He moves really quickly. You know, we see him at the plate, too. He doesn't step out, take a lot of practice swings. He gives up a deep fly ball to Griffin Conine here. Pompey watches it sail over the fence. A solo shot for Cotuit's leadoff man, Griffin Conine. And this is only a 4-1 lead for the Gatemen now.
No doubt about that one by Conine, honestly. I mean, he just slammed that one out. First pitch, comes in there, sees what Dodson delivers, and just whacks it. No chance for Pompey there. Couldn't climb the fence quite easily on that one.
So the shutout is over for this Gatemen crowd tonight. Officially 1,207 of us here at the ballpark tonight at Spillane. That's a very nice number.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest crowd we've had all season, according to the attendance data.
Ball one taken by Zach Cohn, maybe trying to follow up his Duke teammate's home run with something of his own. And that was a big shot by Conine. No, it'll just be a ground ball to Kasser. Throws on a first, and that's going to be the third out of the inning. So, man, a big home run by Griffin Conine, and the Cotuit Cavaliers are finally on the scoreboard against the Gatemen, but Wareham still leads 4-1. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Did you know that Baseball Factory has partnered with the Cape League for the past 17 seasons? Baseball Factory is your resource for top-notch baseball training. With over 600 events nationwide for players age 8 to 18 and over 100,000 college success stories, you too can build your way to greatness with Baseball Factory. Visit baseballfactory.com to learn more.
It's back. The 2017 Friendlies Cape League All-Star Game will be played at Spillane Field, home of the Wareham Gatemen. Mark the date on your calendar, Saturday, July 22nd. Game time is 6 p.m., but the gates open at 2 p.m. One highlight will be the home run hitting contest. There will also be an autograph session and a large merchandise village with items from many of the teams. Be sure to buy your tickets now right here at the merchandise stand. Tickets are just $5, and part of the proceeds will support our Wareham Gatemen.
Brian Rapp still the pitcher for the Cotuit Cavaliers, but some movement in the infield. John Cresto, who pinch hit for Chandler Avant, moves to third, and Zach Cohn, all day's third baseman, moves to shortstop. The one blemish in this game now, the one on the scoreboard, Tanner Dodson gives up a solo shot to Griffin Conine on the first pitch he sees, and we were saying during the break, man, that doesn't match anything else we've seen today from Cotuit's offense.
Yeah, it was kind of a weird blip in that inning, in this entire game, really. As long as the pitching staff's able to shut it down in the ninth, it will remain that, just a little blip in this otherwise pretty solid performance.
Little action out there in the bullpen. Hot shot by McIver, straight to the shortstop Cone. First out of the inning. Gateman maybe trying to get through this inning as quickly as possible, so you still got Tanner Dodson's hot arm out there. Probably not. They'd probably like to give him some insurance runs, though.
Yeah, I mean, John Topa is a guy who doesn't have a hit yet today. Same with McIver.
Interesting pitch by Rapp. Ends up at the backstop.
Yeah, and you know, anytime you come into an at bat late in the game without a hit, you're always looking to, especially in that situation, you're always looking to get your first hit of the day.
Ball inside, again gets past the glove of Gonzalez. Ever since we hyped Gonzalez up as a great defensive catcher, he's let some wild pitches and some pass balls get by him.
Well, he obviously has the trust of being one of, if not the best defensive catcher on this Cotuit squad, catching for these elite pitchers both today and yesterday.
Topa takes ball 3 inside, and now we'll get a 3-0 pitch. Topa reached base in the 4th on an error by the first baseman Tolia. Eventually scored. 3-0's taken for strike 1. Bottom of the 8th, the Gatemen lead 4-1. 3-1 count to John Topa. He takes strike 2 on the outside corner. So now Rapp has worked his way back into this at-bat.
How about that? A 10-2 game for the Harwich Mariners has been cut to 10-7 after Brewster puts up 5 runs in the bottom half of the 7th.
Swing and a miss by Topa. That's his 3rd strikeout of the night. Here comes Tristan Pompey. Has an RBI double in this one. On a night where the Gatemen have 4 runs, there's only 2 RBIs. Tanner Dodson has 1. Tristan Pompey has the other.
Wow. The Harwich Mariners pitching staff walked in 3 consecutive runs in the bottom half of the 7th against Brewster. Talk about great pitching here. I mean, talk about rough pitching for the Brewster.
Why couldn't that have happened when the Gatemen were there the other day?
Because the Harwich Mariners do have a really solid pitching staff out there, and they're trying to work their way back into the playoff contention.
Tristan Pompey and his Gatemen working their way up the standings slowly but surely. Hyannis more than likely is going to lose tonight. Falmouth there in a tight one with YD. The Gatemen could end up in 3rd or 5th place by the end of tonight. But with a win, they would guarantee they are at least in 3rd or 4th. They just need Falmouth to lose.
Hyannis currently trailing 8-3 to the Orleans Firebirds at McKeon Park in Hyannis. In that Falmouth YD game, still tied at 2.
Uh-oh. That's one we'll pay attention to later. Pompey draws a walk, and he'll jog on down to first base. So in the 6th, the Gatemen get a 2-out walk, and they get it again here in the 8th.
That game is no longer tied 2-2.
Oh, my goodness.
That was a delayed internet.
Okay.
The YD has a 4-3 lead over the Commodores, and they just took that lead in the top half of the 7th inning. A Carlos Cortez home run, the South Carolina Gamecock getting on the board with a 2-run shot to kind of jump over.
Sable, first pitch. High pop-up, out of play, left side. So the Gatemen right now, as it stands, they're getting the results they want on the scoreboard here at Spillane in the bottom of the 8th, and they're getting what they want around the league.
Oh, absolutely. And the other result that they really want, it would be for Chatham to beat Bourne. That would really complete it for them. We'll get the score update on that in a second.
Sable takes a ball in the dirt. Pompey heads for second. Ball gets by Dillard, now fielded. Pompey's in scoring position with a 1-1 count to Sable. This is the only matchup tonight that involves 2 West Division teams, Wareham and Cotuit. Cotuit in 2nd, Wareham in 4th, and like you're saying, the rest of the West, Bourne, Falmouth, Hyannis, all taking on East Division opponents.
Yeah, Bourne trailing 1-0 to Chatham in the 4th right now.
Good night for the East Division.
The Gatemen are in good hands with Austin Bergner on the mound for the Anglers.
High ground ball pops off the glove of Luke Alexander, and then he turns it on to first to beat Blake Sable. That will end the 8th inning. The Gatemen hoping that's the last time their bats will come up to the batter's box at Spillane tonight. We'll move to the top of the 9th. The Gatemen have a 3-run lead. You're watching Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network.
Registration is now open for the 2017 Wareham Gatemen High School Clinics. These programs are run by the Gatemen coaching staff with a focus on exposing high school area players to the college game. To sign up for either the hitting, pitching, or catching camps, visit www.gatemen.org for more information.
The 99 Restaurants has 9 real-size entrees for only $9.99. They're big, hearty portions you can count on all day, every day. like their hand-breaded crispy fish tacos with cilantro lime rice. The 99 Restaurants, proud sponsor of the Cape Cod Baseball League.
Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod thanks you for supporting the Cape Cod Baseball League and for refreshing yourself with ice-cold Coca-Cola products. Coca-Cola Bottling Company of Cape Cod employs more than 50 full-time employees and more than 25 seasonal. Every year, more than 15 college students get great experience and support their education by working at Coca-Cola Bottling of Cape Cod. Reward yourself. Have a Coke.
Top of the ninth. Here we are at Spillane Field. Tanner Dodson back on the mound, trying to make this a 2-out save. Comes in the ninth to face Tolia, Genista, and Dillard. Here he is, out of the windup. Misses for ball one. The only blemish on the scoreboard, 1 run for the Cotuit Kettleers, came in the 8th. Foul ball by Tolia. It was a Griffin Conine solo shot with 2 outs. And that's what we've come to expect from Conine. He's going to be an all-star, but not participating in the home run derby. Maybe the league trying to prevent a player from doing both. It'll be a very long all-star game day here at Spillane Field. The Gatemen are excited to host the whole organization.
It's
coming up this
awesome.
Saturday. Oh, yeah. Swing and a miss. Dodson with that heater.
We expect this place to be absolutely packed.
Yeah.
I want to see that bleacher out in left center field full to the brim.
And then some. Line drive, foul out of play into the left field stands. Dodson, like you said, works very quickly. As soon as he gets the ball, he's back on the rubber. And here he is, delivering the 1-2. No, misses. Counts even. Dodson again, 2-2, lifted out in the left center. Kwan chasing it, dives, and can't make the play. Topa fields it. Jogging into second is Tolia, and he's aboard. Tough play for Kwan. That'll more than likely be ruled a double.
Yeah,
now Genista's up.
To be quite honest, I don't think Stephen Kwan really had much of a chance at that ball. He dove in a very good effort for sure, but a lot of ground to cover to get to that ball. That ball was trailing away from him the entire time on a fade kind of swing from the lefty Tolia. And that's exactly what the doctor ordered for Cotuit. They're only down by 3 in the ninth here. Now you got a runner in scoring position, nobody out. Another hit here could really get things cooking for the Kettleers.
Grayson Genista, the batter here. The tying run is on deck. It's Thomas Dillard. Tanner Dodson will now work out of the stretch. The runner on second is Tolia. The batter is Genista, who had a single back in the 7th. He was the only Kettleer to get a hit off of Miller Hogan tonight. He led off the 7th with a single right back up the middle.
And this is the part of the order that you want up for the Cotuit roster.
Dodson deals. Low. Count 2-0. No action in the Gatemen bullpen right now. We got to think somebody's warm in there. Dodson gets a big swing and a miss from Genista. Swings at that high fastball. Now 2-1.
Important for Dodson to continue to throw strikes here. Do not want to walk a batter in a 3-run game.
He gets a pop-up. It's going to be to Topa in left. He's under it and makes the catch. It'll be the first out of the inning. The Gatemen 2 outs from victory. Dodson, Coach Don Sneddon has talked about. His future, Sneddon believes, is in pitching. And this year at Cal, the numbers sort of speak for themselves. As a sophomore, Dodson hit .297, 3 home runs, 26 RBIs, 4 stolen bases. And on the mound, 7 starts, 12 appearances, a 5.37 ERA, a 2-6 record. Now, granted, Cal baseball was horrible this year, and 48 strikeouts. Was Cal baseball bad?
They weren't that bad. They were middle of the Pac-12. But, you know, I think the thing that with Tanner Dodson is his fastball is just so fast that if he adds an off-speed pitch and gets that off-speed pitch to be really, really good, then he can just be, you know, he can take his pitching game to the next level. It's the fact that he can reach 95, 96 with that fastball.
Swing and a miss, strike 3. Tanner Dodson gets a clutch strikeout of Thomas Dillard. 2 outs here in the top of the 9th. That strikeout brought to you by the law offices of Lang, Exaforris, and Bullard. First Gateman strikeout since Miller Hogan got Dillard looking. Oh, actually that's incorrect. He got Alexander back in the 7th as well. Tanner Dodson stares down Brett Kinnaman. Kinnaman, interestingly enough, was the last batter that Brett Canine faced last night in Cotuit to close out a 1-0 ball game. Dodson, the only thing standing between him and a save is Brett Kinnaman. He deals 2 balls low in the dirt, both blocked by Willie McIver. Michael Tolley is on second. He had a double to lead off this inning. Dodson out of the stretch. Now the count goes 3-0.
This is a really important batter. Luke Alexander on deck is not someone you want to face right now, especially with 2 men on if you end up walking this guy on a 3-0 count.
The 3-0 called for strike 1. And now Dodson starting to work his way back in this at-bat. Kinnaman, he is now to run that matters. The guy on second, Tolia, does not matter. Run that matters right now is in the on-deck circle, Kinnaman. I apologize, Kinnaman's at the plate. Alexander's on deck. Kinnaman just swings on strike 2. Now Spillane, the crowd is on its feet. An ovation for Tanner Dodson and this Gatemen team. The 3-2, 2 outs, game over. Tanner Dodson strikes out Brett Kinnaman, and the Gatemen sweep a home and home against the Cotuit Kettleers. 4-1, the final tonight. That strikeout brought to you by the law offices of Lang, Exaforris, and Bullard. Dodson comes in. He gets 2 strikeouts in the top of the 9th. The game is over.
Well, I got to go talk to Coach Maxwell because he told me yesterday was one of the best probably the best pitching performance he'd seen top to bottom in his 11, 12 years here. How about that for a follow-up performance? Wow. Miller Hogan, 7 innings. Tanner Dodson, 2 more. I mean, you can't ask for much more. Only 3 hits on the day for Cotuit. Pitching got it done. The runs come in spurts for the Gatemen. They get a few big hits, and overall a pretty impressive day for this Wareham Gatemen team, winning their 2nd consecutive game for just, I believe, the 3rd or 4th time this season.
The Gatemen are now 8-7-1 against the West Division. That's a critical mark. The better you are against the division, the better you're going to be moving forward. It's a 2-game win streak. As you just said, some crazy scores around the Cape right now that we're following. We'll get to that later, but how about the player of the game tonight? A guy who took a no-hitter into the 7th inning, 7 scoreless innings, the first and maybe the last time we'll say that from a Gateman pitcher this season. How about Miller Hogan, player of the game?
He is the player of the game, undoubtedly. 7 innings, goes for the first time this year, a Gateman pitcher able to do that. I mean, his changeup was good again, but really today it was the fastball. He was just blowing by guys with that fastball high in the zone and getting guys to get under it, pop out to shallow center, shallow left field, and got a few strikeouts here and there. And early in the game, he was keeping the ball on the ground. But overall, really good stuff from Miller Hogan today. And we wish him well on his endeavors past the Wareham Gatemen, of course. I mean, I'm sure he feels that he's a better pitcher now than what he came in to the season being. So I think that Miller Hogan got a lot out of Jim Lawler and his Gateman experience, and the whole team's probably very happy for him.
Aren't they all a little better after they work with Coach Jim Lawler, no matter how long they work for him? I mean, Miller Hogan, a guy who was always going to be a first-half player. That's what St. Louis allowed him to do, and the Gatemen thank him for his contributions, but RBI contributions tonight from Tanner Dodson, the pitcher who happens to get the save, and Tristan Pompey, who had an RBI double to score John Topa back in the 4th inning. Jaron Duran scored on a wild pitch, and Robbie Metz scored on an error on the shortstop Chandler Avant. That was back in the 5th. So the Gatemen tonight, the Bats, they finally come alive. They finally get those 4 runs we've been waiting for. I mean, is this the complete performance we've been waiting for?
This was as close to a complete performance as we've seen all season. I mean, you can't really ask much more for the batting. I mean, they got the 4 runs. The defense for Cotuit did help that a little bit. They were pretty rough. But, I mean, looking ahead, some big games coming up, of course, in Hyannis in a few days. That one is huge. And then, you know, a little bit of West or a little bit of East Division action. We'll see what the Gatemen are able to do when they play some teams that don't really affect them in the standings, but their play against them certainly has an effect in the standings. So, interesting schedule coming up for Wareham.
All right, the Gatemen, they win this one by a score of 4-1. Wareham out-hits Cotuit by a score of 6-3. And Sam, we said if the Gatemen, they don't commit any errors tonight, they'll win the game. That's what happened. Cotuit commits 3 errors, and the Gatemen don't commit any errors. They win this one by a score of 4-1. Thank you for listening to this broadcast of Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. The general manager of the Wareham Gatemen is Andrew Lang. The producers of today's broadcast are Nick Veronesi and Matthew Wieselthayer. Our sideline reporter is Claudia Chakamian. A special thanks to our beat writer Matt Feld and today's host Jacob Toby. The next broadcast of Wareham Gatemen Baseball will be Tuesday as the Wareham Gatemen travel to Hyannis to take on the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. The game starts at 6 p.m. Our coverage begins at 5:30 with Gatemen Pregame Live. For Sam Corman, I'm Connor Federico. Thanks for tuning in to this presentation of Wareham Gatemen Baseball on the Gatemen Baseball Network. Good night.